wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches, its Clintons getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking, now your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches, it's Clintons getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking, now your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich.
I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking out your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had a glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. We wanna be rich.
The deep they lurk, like twisted water dogs. In shadows they smirk. Down in the rivers, out in the seas, masters of the deep, dolphin mysteries. Bottlenose freaks, short beaks in the night. Humpback shadows, pygmies out of sight. All the dolphins, you know it's true. Rolling deep in the ocean blue. Stripes and spots, they rule the tide. Water dogs of the deep, they don't hide. In the river's grip, seas endless bounty. Ruling the waves, dolphin Illuminati. Praised by Romans, gods to the Greeks. Underwater rulers, their power peaks. In ocean depths, their counts to 6. Dolphins in the dark, never calling it quits. Striped and spotted in the sea's domain. Aquatic dogs in their own insane lane. Through rivers they ride, seas they roam. In the ocean depths, they make their home.
Well, I talk about insanity, which is what's going on in your mind, and outside, which is where you communicate with those things. As you know, if you give too much of your insanity, they'll lock you up. I tried giving as much as I could. They didn't lock me up. They published it and paid me.
Dolphin, Illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. It's that dolphin, Illuminati.
Don't call me, I'll call you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Money stacking up, I got things to do. Getting rich, making moves, that's the cruise. Phone on silent, I ain't hearing you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Paper chasing, that's what I'm into. Busy gunning, gotta keep it true. Don't call me, I'll call you. I'm on the go, you know the vibe. Whipping the whip, I'm taking a ride. You hitting my line, I'm letting it slide. I got the hustlers nationwide. Running machine, counting it fast. Blowing my phone, I'm chasing a bag. Hanging on top of the chick in the chat. I'm on a mission, I'm doing the math. Ice on my wrist, it's sticking like snow. Diamonds on gold, they hit like whoa. Don't need distractions, I'm stacking the dough. When I'm done, you know I let you know. Don't call me, I'll call you. Money stacking up, I got things to do. Getting rich, making moves, that's the cruise. Phone on silent, I ain't hearing you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Paper chasing, that's what I'm into. Busy grounding, gotta keep it true. Don't call call me, I'll call you. Rain, but I ain't gon' pick up. I'm in the cut, gotta get my Rex up. Pushing the gas, I ain't never gon' stop. Grinding so hard, I'm taking the top. Back row thick, pockets on swole. You hitting my line, I'm letting it go. Let it look so clean, dripping and go. You ain't on my level, you already know. Stay in your lane, I'm running the game. Phone on silent, you know the name. Make any moves, stacking the change. Don't need no drama, ain't playing no games. Don't call me, I'll call you. Money stacking up, I got things to do. Getting licks, making moves, that's the cruise. Phone on solid, I ain't hearing you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Paper chasing, that's what I'm into. Busy grinding, gotta keep it true. Don't call me, I'll call you. I'm on the mission, ain't got no time. Pulling up since I'm on the grind. Phone on mute, I'm in my prime. Don't call me, I'm cutting the line. Pockets so fat, pockets obese. Blowing my phone, I'm chasing the cheese. I'm in the top, it's a different breed. Focus on money, I'm feeling at ease. Making these plays, running the scope. Don't need your call, I'm ready for more. Weighing on me, I'm setting the tone. When I get there, I hit up your phone. Layla, hates her, hotties. Oh yeah, Layla, she hates her, hotties. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she hates the hotties. Oh yeah. She hates the hotties.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing who our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Big up your Friday night. Welcome to Secret Society of Good Guys. Make sure you're hitting the like and subscribe everywhere. I have dropped the links on X so you can find the Rumble, because we are inevitably going to get in trouble on YouTube. But if you do want to hang out with one of the coolest chats around, go to Project Chaney on YouTube. And otherwise, to all the people that find us on Secret Society of Good Guys on YouTube and hang out every week and watch there, big up your blood clot self. Hi, good guys.
What
Big
up?
up,
What
big up.
up?
Big ups, big ups.
What's going on, y'all?
I don't know. We don't know who might swing in tonight, but until then, what's going on with you guys?
Well, I survived a hurricane this week. What about you guys?
Oh yeah, I guess
Yeah.
we all did.
We all survived it was a major hurricane, right? It just didn't hit us directly.
No.
It
I
kind of
was
there was a time it was going right to Layla.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, fuck, no, holy." And then I was trying to weather witch outside. I'm like, "Go that way or that way, just not here." Like, I kept, like, trying to weather witch, so
I will you to hit Pensacola.
yeah, go that way. Sorry, y'all, but yeah, I had to move it. I had to move the hurricane.
It did
Energetic.
go a little south. I thought it was going to keep curving. And it's kind of, for those of you who don't know, Floridians like can talk in hurricane in a way that it is a whole blanket period of time. So we were like, oh, I sure hope that thing doesn't Charlie. And
Mhm.
everybody knows what that means. Like we can just speak like, oh, well, Andrew, those were different kind of houses. Like people just know what that means, or you're like, oh, Francis Jean. Like Francis Jean
Oh,
were
I
like
don't know
twin
that
sisters.
language.
Yeah, you don't yet because you don't have enough storms, but like you're building them. Like Helen will be like a storm. You're like, oh, remember Helen, that sneaky little bitch? She
That
was
little
coming, but
bitch
she
is
turned.
passed right by. Like, literally, we were right there. The storm, I could see like the cutoff from when the storm was. Yeah, we were getting drizzles, but I was like, oh my God, we're gonna be fine. I was like, holy shit. I knew it. I knew. For some reason, I wasn't worried. Everybody was just like, nah, it's not coming here. Fuck it. It's not. I believe
Everyone
it.
earns their stripes eventually in Florida. I mean, I've been here for the last 20 years, and even before that, before I was in the military, I was in Florida for like another 8 years. So I was here for Andrew and for almost all the big ones.
Damn.
It is a whole different. It also is why I think we're a little unmanageable as a people, because when everybody else in the country, when they're like, oh my gosh, what will you guys do if a solar flare happens? What will you do if you guys lose power? What will you guys do? And it's like Floridians are like, oh, like every couple of years we have to do that with each other for a few weeks. Like we have to live like that. So we know what happens when the power goes out. And this is one thing I will say, in our luxury, even though it's hot as biscuits, we're not freezing our tits off. It's
Yeah.
like that's the one luxury of
Hey,
it.
Derek, just so you know, when I mean weather witch, it's just talking to the clouds. I'm like, hey, clouds, go that way. Hey, clouds, go that way. If you want to think
Who's
that's
Derek?
witchy, some guy Derek in there is like, hey, yeah, I thought you said
Yeah,
you're not a
Derek.
witch. I'm not a witch, but I weather witched. If talking to the clouds is weather witching, that's what I did. Then okay, I'm a witch. Burn
I
the witch.
know a
Burn
bunch
the
of like
witch.
Christian ladies that this would be an example. There would be like rain clouds coming in Florida, and they would walk down the driveway and they would draw a cross in the sand at the edge of the driveway, and they would say, baby Jesus would never let it rain here today.
And it probably worked.
I think that kind of stuff is just, there were rain dances by our, natives. Like we know that to be a thing. And Thomas always talks about like the number one way they got people to sacrifice their kids was always the weather.
Mm, yeah. That's what they did for dragons and where I'm from. Apparently the water dragon, there's a water dragon and they had to sacrifice children for during the droughts so the water dragon can bless them with rainfall.
It's always the kids, right? And even in I think it's Central and South Americas, there was this ritual where they would pry the kids' fingernails out of their fingers so that they would cry, because their sympathetic magic saw that the tears dripping from the eyes would be like as as below so above, that it would make a waterfall out of the sky. So that, like, it wasn't just the regular sacrifice, like they had to hate it and cry from it and be tortured throughout it. And I think that was like some of the OG versions of the old Moloch rituals. Like, what was the brazen bull, where if you put someone in there, the gas escaping as they cooked would make this bull like roar. It would actually make like a noise. They would and they would put masks on the kids that had like big smiley faces because they didn't want to offend their god. This is the Phoenician version, right? They didn't want to offend their god that they were sacrificing to. So the kids crying in that instance was a bad thing. So it's like, you can't even win with these freaking agricultural gods.
No, you can't.
The agricultural gods, there's no winning. They want the sacrifice, but they want you to be happy about it.
Right. And you got to give them your best stuff too. Because that was another big thing towards the fall of Carthage, is that a lot of the priests blamed that everyone was giving away like their second or their third kid, the runts. They weren't giving away their firstborns.
It's so curious to me how many cultures throughout time that we always hear of that are like sacrificing, but in my head, in like an acid rain quicksand way, why do I have the idea that we always walk into volcanoes when we're being sacrificed? Layla, you're back, and I didn't have to do anything. It was so magic.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm glitchy tonight, so I changed the camera. Sorry. If I'm
okay.
still glitching, I don't know why.
It might be
Right?
an internet thing.
Yeah, it could be. You just had a huge storm come through. They probably had to turn off parts of the grid to get the grid up quicker.
Probably.
So
I'm
as they
turn back.
reconnect it, you could be spotty.
Okay, I'm gonna
But
turn
as
back.
much as I don't want to hook to Skynet, I'm like, do I want to get that internet?
Oh, the
S-
what's it called?
Elon
Yeah, Elon's thing.
connection. I don't know
Yeah.
what it's called.
It's not SpaceX. No,
Starlink.
Starlink. There you go.
It's the only option in some remote areas. So there's a lot of people that are off the grid that kind of have to be on the Starlink grid in order to
This-
be on any grid.
But I don't believe it because satellites are not real.
Well,
So
then
that's
there's
why I'm
no
like,
grid to worry about, right?
I think it's just a bunch of wires that they wired, those cables that they have running through the ocean to connect to the other side of the ocean. They have those in our world that connects us to everything. It's not these fucking satellites that they're talking about. And everybody knows this. It's cables.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
the biggest communication cables. Why would they need all those? Like, why would they even need to fake the Suez Canal thing that just happened to be over the biggest communication cable, and then fake the Titan sub thing, which just happened to be over the biggest communication cable? Why would they need to do any of that? Why wouldn't we just be shooting each other's country's satellites out of the sky? Like some of this stuff with what they try to convince us with like bloody war games on the ground, it doesn't make sense with the
Nope.
technology they tell us they have.
Thank you.
Like if we're littered with satellites, how come I only see one occasionally with my eyes when I see a light in the sky and someone around me is like, yeah, that's just a satellite.
satellite.
Why are there so many more satellites? If like even the Starlink, if you've ever seen it by you, it's like dot, 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 and then we're told that there's all these satellites. Oh, it's so littered up there because humans are such trash. It's like it's just littered with satellites.
I don't buy it at all.
I don't know. You just made me not buy it in the second.
Yeah. I won't buy it. Sorry,
I was
Elon.
about to debate you with low Earth orbit, but just in the second, like as I was,
I'm telling you,
don't believe it either.
it's just all wires. Like, yeah,
it just
we
is
have
wild, and it just makes
Ethernet,
me
but-
think like helium, like the same exact like helium balloon shit. Like they had to get rid of Zeppelins because we wouldn't believe in satellites.
Thank you. This is very logical, man. Where are they? Like all the satellites that pass in front of the sun, you're not going to see the shadow of any of these motherfucking satellites with the thousands of them that are there. And then you're going to give me some weird excuse at why it doesn't happen because it just that's just a weird phenomena. Like shut the like, come on.
Satellites, you're on notice.
You are on notice and been on notice.
You've been on notice. We already been watching you pass notes in the back of the class.
Shit.
The gig is up, satellites.
You could
What do
play
you think?
everybody. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, A fool can't get fooled again.
No one ever gets that right.
Yeah. I don't
That was a good
I
one.
tried. I
That
tried.
was great. Thomas, what are your thoughts on satellites?
I believe in satellites. I'm the resident globetard in almost every conspiracy room.
But why
And you just
though?
believe it how it is given to you. Like, you're not even skeptical. You're just like,
Okay.
I mean, you have to decide where you're going to draw the line, and that's one of the lies that I'm okay if it needs to fit the mathematical models that everyone else
I
has to
get you.
talk about on a standard. Like, it doesn't feel like something that I'm willing to plant my flag in. If we want to talk about the Clintons eating the faces of children, I'll put my flag into that hill for sure.
That's how I feel about politics.
do
I know
you
it's like
let me
it's
just
you know.
questions for
Uh-huh.
real. Like,
Uh,
not only other countries, but you're also going to let this private guy put up a Skynet, and none of the other countries are even remotely worried about power and control and what could happen with that. And then you also have television networks that they have their own satellites, and then you just have random astronomers, like different space station, like the Catholic Church probably has a satellite, like some place in Arizona has their own satellite. NASA has a few. There's satellites. It's just like the concept of it, the more I sit here, is wild. It's
it
almost like,
really
believe me,
is.
when there's a treaty in Antarctica, all the countries
Well,
are like,
well, there
yeah.
was the big one. Remember when Sirius and XM originally launched, and I think it was like the really early 2000s. It might even been like the really late 90s. And that was the big thing, was that not only do we have this satellite radio, it's going to be high def and blah blah. Yeah, there is one. Okay. Not only that, but they were talking about that this is going to be this huge thing because now a private company's got a satellite and they can rent out their bandwidth on the satellite to other companies. So not only is Sirius going to be this radio station, but it's going to be like a satellite retailer timeshare type thing. And I guess what Musk did was just took that part of the idea and was like, I don't even got to provide a service other than just the bandwidth aspect, and pushed it out. So I mean, it's not even that new of an idea if you believe that it was possible originally, because they were already doing it in the 90s.
Mm,
And
well,
then here's this too, like a satellite phone. Why, like, look at the places you still lose reception, and then look at the places that you still need a satellite phone, because they're like, oh, those phones, they run on towers. Well, what? Like, hey, AT&T, get with the program, get some satellites in the sky. Like, I want the fastest network. Oh, we're just going to let Elon Musk do that. None of us ever invested in satellite technology. We invested instead fiber optics in the ground.
100% they did. And not just that, but if again talking about the 90s, there was, whenever like Bell Labs originally got over an antitrust lawsuit, it was like a lot of the big telecom companies, they got over these antitrust lawsuits by basically, if I put it in layman's, they promised the government, well, we'll take it upon ourselves over the next 2 or 3 decades to build the infrastructure of the country if you just let us create these huge like global conglomerate companies. If you let us do that, then we will put down all these fiber optic cables and everything. And guess what? They didn't do that for like 3 decades. They didn't do it. And they're only just now starting to roll it out in certain cities where they need it, wherever like industry needs it. But they never actually made good on the promise that they made to the government in the 90s, that they were going to roll out all this infrastructure. I mean, I don't think anyone cares about infrastructure in this country anymore, right?
This is so interesting, because remember how when we were all growing up, it was like Bell South and Bell Atlantic and Bell whatever.
Ma
And they
Bell.
also got like rid of the bells everywhere in general. And they they also got rid of all the separate phone conglomerates that it used to, like, I always
we
think
had Con Edison. Con Edison. The con of it all, Mr. Edison. It's in the name. That's what I grew up on, Con Edison.
I never even heard that before. That's
New
like
York,
okay.
Con Edison.
I think
Mhm.
even when I was in New York, it was Bell.
Yeah, when I was
Upstate.
growing up, when I was a kid, yeah, but then it was Con Edison.
and it just seems to me like the number one, if everything's about blackmail and honey traps and everything, The whole thing they were doing over the cable when they pretended Titan sub went down is like in my little spy movie head, they just pinched a thing to the cable wire so they could listen to whatever they wanted. And that's exactly what they did at the Suez Canal. So I just am like, why, if satellites were real, why wouldn't I just put a little like my own little mirror? Or does like Dr. Evil shoot off, which by the way, the Dr. Evil having Diddy on his ass.
Dude. When
That's
I
how
saw
quickly
that, I was
squirrel.
like, oh my
That's
God. I had an
wild.
Austin Powers costume in my closet. I was like, should I just come on and surprise everybody with an Austin Powers and just pull, put Diddy on my ass and just like moon everybody? That'd be iconic.
Did you
I
see
wasn't gonna
that,
go that far.
Thomas? Oh, big ups, big ups.
Was this in the original movie he had it, or is this like a new thing that he did?
I forgot which one. It's one with Mini-Me in it.
But actually, like the original footage, not a doctored version of it.
I believe it's a real footage of Dr. Evil. He's like hanging off on the side of the whatever, and his pants are pulled down, and it says Diddy on his ass.
It's the second or third one.
Yeah,
You know what would be interesting? It's probably the one with Beyonce.
probably.
Big up, Mountain, your mom.
So who else is on the list, right? Because if it almost feels like no one cares until it gets big enough for people to care, but people have been talking about Diddy for decades at this point. So who else has everyone been talking about for decades and their number hasn't come up yet? Ellen?
Tom Hanks.
Oprah.
And I watched Ellen stand up last night. I'm a stand-up nerd. I really love stand-up comedy, the art of it. I love the art of somebody getting on stage with a microphone for an hour, whatever that may be. I think the reason it's one of the biggest fears in humanity, like it's up there with like snakes and spiders and heights, is because a majority of the time in human history, when you had a microphone in your hand, you would have been pleading for your life. Like if you were in front of that many people and any other thing, you would have been like, please don't kill me, or you would have been giving your last words. Like very few times would you have been like the king or the pastor or like have that energy. So I even forgot the whole fucking point. I was like, what were we just? Oh yeah,
talking about who else's number is about to come up.
Lucien. What was his name? Lucien. What was his name?
Greaves?
Yeah, that guy.
This is the Temple of Satan guy, right?
Yeah, and everybody knows him in the industry. Yeah, I mean everybody. P. Diddy, Taylor Swift, you name it. There's like the whole group.
I think the names that are going to come down though have to be big. Like something that I was wondering this week is, would the first arrest shock the world? Is that Diddy?
Oh, I thought that was
so.
Epstein.
I don't know.
think enough people knew who Epstein was, even
I
when he got
agree.
in trouble.
That's true. Fuck, I don't know.
And people know Diddy, but I think that everyone was just like, yeah, I kind of knew. Or whatever comes out, it'll be like, okay, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Don't you think that Diddy, like the way every single New York politician stepped down this week, don't you think that probably does attach to Obama?
That would be great if it were Obama to be arrested.
I mean,
Diddy
man.
is a big arrest.
When you say Obama, I just hear you say CIA.
That's
Yeah.
Like, do you think Diddy is going to bring down the entire CIA? I don't think so.
It's like when they
that would
say
be
things
great.
like, do you think Alex Jones is going to do what I'm like, no, DARPA's never going to tell on DARPA.
Yeah. DARPA.
Yeah. That's but that is kind of, it feels like Diddy is either a honey trap they're cleaning up. This is a thing that I kept hearing this week that I found interesting, is who goes in and cleans up whatever other data. So they're like, oh, there's 1,000 dildos and 800 gallons of lube, and that gets this headline while we're sneaking out with the paperwork, the names, the photos of everything that really matters.
The blackmail and the video footage. Like the baby oil thing is funny just because now, of course, everyone's gonna have parody baby oil ads and like all the jokes come out. But that's basically the oh, what? Look at this thing that might have hit this building. Don't worry about all the receipts that got burnt up in the process. Don't worry about the coincidence that happened. Pay attention to all this like mystery and the explosions.
When did politics and music industry or Hollywood really start to like, because when you look at Hollywood, they're all Democrats. So then you got to ask, what the fuck is the Democratic Party? Like, what does it become? Because like all these people that are part of this weird fucking P Diddy parties, they're all pushing for Democrat, and then makes you wonder what is truly the Democratic Party. But they're posing as something American, but totally un-American. And what
I
are they
feel
pushing?
like Thomas and I are having the same, like, we don't want to bush you up here. And we don't want to, like, it's like there's all these dirty fucking Republicans too, like the Cheneys and the Bushes, and they
There
all
is,
play along and they play right into this whole thing. Like, look at President Trump's entire cabinet. He was surrounded by snakes. Like
yeah.
all people that were like, yeah. So I just feel like one side was corrupted by one organization, like shadow government, CIA, and then the other side seemed to play ball with the CIA. We at least know for a fact they made a Tom Cruise movie about Bush and Clinton hanging out. And so I just am like,
Yeah, but what
somewhere
I see is like how it's blatantly clear that it's all of Hollywood with the Democratic Party, and the ones that
that part's
are,
true.
yeah, that when you remove yourself from that and you consider yourself a fucking Republican, all of a sudden you're blacklisted. So it's like, what is truly going on here? Yeah, we have bad Republicans and we all know that, but they're trying to infiltrate the Republican Party in their own way, and the Republican Party is not buying in. That's why these people don't make it. That's why we call them out. Like we're aware of it.
The
So
ideology they're pushing is this like
yeah,
liberal schlim
yeah,
slam.
I
and
think
we're
that that's
aware of it.
probably closer. If like, I know that the words just blend together, but it really does feel like it's liberal versus conservative more than Democrat versus Republican. I almost feel that everyone's a Democrat now. Like all the politicians are all in the literal sense of the word, and they're all just kind of populists. If they just get a popular sentiment on their side, they don't really care about what the smaller groups have to say, which is kind of the antithesis of being Republican. Republican
Mm,
meaning that like everyone, no matter how small the community is, should have some sort of a say in everything and not just get steamrolled. But to
mhm.
answer Layla's question, like when did this start? When did Democrats or when did the government get in bed with
Like
Hollywood and
really,
the music
really,
industry?
yeah.
It honestly goes back at least as far as the Bavarian Illuminati, because this was one of the weird things that keeps coming up, right? Is that this hip hop Illuminati, and I used to laugh and roll my eyes at it. But the research I've been doing with Donut into the actual Bavarian Illuminati from the 18th century in the late 1700s, they actively went out and they signed Bach and Mozart and Beethoven. So, and this is when they were like child prodigies. So here you have this very liberal, like incredibly liberal group that means to infiltrate culture and academia and politics and everything, and they decide that it's worth their time to pursue not just like one or two, but a whole bunch of these child pop stars of their time, right? So if they've been doing it since the late 1700s, I don't see why they would have changed course over the last 200 years. They're still looking at it like, oh, there's obviously value, there's political capital in signing up whoever's going to be the next big star and tour around, and anyone that's on board with him. So if you get in early, which it's super cheap, especially if you got all the money and resources to like back these stars, right? So just
Mm.
like the OG Illuminati, whoever wants to own the capital right now, like they would have to be doing the same thing. They'd still have to be backing all these music artists because they're the ones that are going to be like, rock the vote, right? Like that
Yeah.
was Diddy's thing, right? It was like, hey, everyone vote for whoever I say is cool.
Rock the vote. It's almost like Aaliyah's song, Rock the Boat.
Well, after it, when Diddy came, it became vote or die. That was like the new MTV slogan.
And we're going to make
Uh,
that vor or die.
Blue
Vor
wave,
or die with
blue
Diddy
wave.
on it with a belly full of with baby oil in his belly.
I can't. I can't. I can't.
Baby oil is gross. Like there's something like I don't believe it was baby oil. I think it was GHB.
How
It
many
was
babies does it
GHB.
take to fill up a bottle of baby oil?
I do think that's an interesting
I
wording
think
for
a
them
whole
to keep
bottle maybe,
saying
no?
Right.
over and over again. I think it's like, here, dildos and baby oil, dildos and baby oil. Like, I don't know. Why would you need so many dildos? Unless you made casts of all your victims.
Or I mean, if you're looking around, you're like, man, we gotta sure do have a lot of baby oil around here. We need something else to kind of balance it out. So
It's fucking
yeah, I can
nuts.
almost see it like turned into this never-ending like balancing nightmare of like, well, now we got too many dildos. Now we get more baby oil, and like they could never find the perfect equilibrium between the two.
I just think, like, what if there is like the most fun baby oil ice rink that we don't know about? Like, it's just slip slidey chaos, and it's not even nude. It's just really good, wholesome fun. And if this doesn't exist, this is the only thing I can picture in my little innocent brain, because baby oil is not the greatest subject. Like, it's not the greatest the greatest thing. I'm like, the thing I do with baby oil, maybe lay out in the sun. Like, it's as far as lube goes, baby oil, I don't know.
Well, they probably also found like a huge cachet of Skin So Soft, but that didn't really make the same headlines.
And I also think all the posts that everyone's making, that they're like, oh, 800 gallons of baby oil, that's weird, but $60,000 worth of hot dogs isn't weird. I love all these posts. I think, like, everyone keep it up.
You
But
wait until they find a handkerchief somewhere on Diddy's compound.
Well, that's the weird thing about all the pictures of Kamala Harris. She seems to be some kind of high class call girl. And we used to know there was like the Washington Madam, and then she was killed. And then there was Heidi Fleiss, and she was the Hollywood Madam. And it's like almost they set up, I feel like, the same as Alex Jones or the same as the Twin Towers. Some things the media builds for us to destroy. So it's like, look we took care of this problem. Oh, the black book's destroyed. But we know the FBI was created just as pretty much a blackmail organization in the exact same way. Like,
I
we're going to listen to the IRA.
I also feel like there's a whole new birther movement that's kind of coming up around Kamala Harris. It feels very similar to the same one that was on Obama, but this one is like, is she really black? Are her parents black? Is her grandma black? And I thought it was silly, just like I thought the original one was silly, until they had the whole presentation on the birth certificate, and they showed how it was like the exact same image, and they opened up a PDF file, and they were like, go download it yourself, download the official PDF file and open it up in Acrobat and look at the layers, and you can see that like these were just kind of like reconstituted signatures. Like it wasn't any of the originals.
Are you a birther? Like, would that be something that you would say that was a bullshit document, at least?
I absolutely. And I didn't think it was originally, but just looking into it for 2 hours, it was like, okay, there actually is something here worth talking about. It's not a complete nothing. And the same thing is starting to happen around Kamala. Maybe I'm staying in the wrong circles, and everyone that I know is a bad influence. But I look into it, and it seems like the image that was supposed to justify, like, no, my dad really is black. Here's his mom. Look at how black she is. But it turns out that she died. Like the photo that got out was basically Kamala Harris with the help, I think. And if it wasn't her grandma, then why are all these stories that are debunking like people claiming and making this sort of birther claims against Kamala Harris, but they're showing this image that couldn't really be her grandma as the grandma to debunk it. It has all of the makings of that same sort of birther thing. And it also feels like if it is the same as a birther thing, it's a complete misdirection. Even if it's true, it's here because it's easier to look into and has less consequences than some other thing that we're not looking into, but talking about this instead.
There is part of it where it's almost the same as Elizabeth Warren. It was like some of their chess pieces, if they were like a cabal and they were trying to take over, and it was like a communist
You
cabal.
mean Meemaw Warren? Is that what we're talking about? Meemaw?
Yeah, like some of their chess pieces that they put into place, some of the stuff we were never meant to figure out. Or like the people who did figure it out, they'd be Alex Jones. Like, you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. You're just saying all these crazy things. But I almost feel like that about I called this episode Aliens because I was thinking we're like building up to the election, like they're going to pull out all the stops. If we all think like, oh, this is the one time, if you're anyone who's like RX'd on glittery red pills, this is the one time maybe in the last 100 years that maybe we could do something about this thing. Like maybe they're not going to just give up. They're going to pull out the blue beam. They're going big or going home, and it's all going to lead up to this election. Like we're all watching this movie like, okay, is World War III going to be big enough to get our, like, what's going to be bigger? A celebrity
I mean, I
plane
just
crash?
have to say, I know it's not the most popular sentiment here, but I really do feel like our elections have the same weight as you clicking like a thumbs up or a thumbs down on that Amazon Prime movie that you just watched. Like, just because you think you gave it and you can't even give it thumbs down anymore, which I think is a perfect analogy, because at a certain point, like there's almost gonna be a different sentiment than being able to vote. But I almost think that that's one of the big things, that as long as these rubes still think that their votes freaking matter, like let alone the polls, like the polls probably matter even more than the actual votes, because the actual votes I feel have never existed. Maybe, at least not in my lifetime. Like the more and more that I get older and the more I read about every other election in history. I mean, we were, again, Florida, the hanging Chad state, right? Like it almost feels that it's silly how crazy and like unreliable the methods that we've got to do what is arguably the most important thing that we do every 4 years. So if anything, like this is, you just want people tuning in. You just want people taking part in the system, even if it doesn't work. Because the second that you are upfront about that, then everything falls apart.
Isn't that kind of where they say in like in some other countries where they'll like 80% of them will vote, and then they'll all go and then they'll stay up the whole night like outside with guns. Like in some like third world countries, like people are like, I don't even kid around with this. Like the person that we put up there is the person that if they get the majority of votes, they're getting in.
Yep.
Like because they in like smaller places or townships, like I feel like certain elections are televised.
Mexico. Remember
Yeah.
Mexico?
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of stolen elections that people know
Venezuela?
about. Or like 30 million votes mailed in from China.
Not in our country, though. Our country
Oh,
is immune
no.
to all of that.
No, like
No,
our
no.
Dominion voting machines or dead people voting. I always think that's a real interesting, like, what would be the point of dead people voting?
Why shouldn't they
It's
be
a
allowed to vote?
body.
They've been here longer than we have.
It's a body. They're talking about bodies. They don't care about your soul.
And there's like all these little townships across America that like illegal aliens are signing up to vote, so like at such a degree that they're being like paid to sign up to vote almost against the people that have lived there for generations and generations.
To me, it's just a front. So now it's almost like if you're laundering money, if the tax inspector comes by, you've got some sort of receipts that you can muster up and be like, oh, look, it's not a complete illegitimate operation. Like we've got some real votes here. Look at all these people that we imported that we can count on their votes. Like, so that alone seems like it's just added sort of like proxy. It's like it's a buffer.
It seems like a lot of work, like extra, like, oh, let's move in all these other people we have to take care of. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like if you can just steal it with just like some push of the numbers, some push of the Dominion numbers. It seems like, having to move tens of thousands of bodies.
No,
across
but I think that that's
the
more of a
heck?
move towards globalization, where it's like every huge influx of people that have no interest in assimilation and maybe even disdain for the existing culture, that over time, all it takes is about 30 years. It takes about one
Yeah.
generation to just weaken that community so that they no longer care about. And I mean, maybe I'm like the Masonic plant here, but I don't necessarily think that pure nationalism is like an ultimate evil, any more than like anyone inside this house, like I got their back and they got my back. I don't know if like, that extends to like the neighborhood, but it could. Like there's certain neighborhoods where that could extend to. And all nationalism is you keep pushing that border out and out until it's certain becomes anyone that is sort of playing by the same rules and all is working towards at least building like one cohesive community where, you know, there's some sort of altruistic outcome of it, maybe. Even if it's just a lie that we tell ourselves it's on there. But now we've got a new culture where it's like, nah, I hate everything about this country and I don't care what happens to it. And then that starts spreading more and more. So I think that that's the real reason. It's like it's importing a dilution of culture.
You're not gonna say any like you may be a nationalist. I feel like Layla's about to come in and be like, I'm a fucking nationalist.
Well, before there was nationalism, there was tribes, there was kingdoms and tribes, and then nationalism came in, and that's when countries started to be developed. Like there were countries, but it was like kingdoms of countries. It was like a kingdom, and then they had their tribes, and each tribe was like their nation. And then these nationalists came and started wars, and we created nations. And nationalism is great, but then came religion. Religion then came and fucked it all up. That's where I will make my peace. Nothing to do with God, but these man-made books that came in little by little, which started with I don't want to call them out, but started with the Jewish people.
You know, if you spread your people wherever, like taking over countries, like what you're saying a little bit, over 100 years, 1,000 years, your people go all over because it seems like the real callback to Legion is you religion them, you religion them. And so it's like, it doesn't matter what country they go to. It doesn't matter if they're first world or third world. It doesn't matter the color of their skin. The second their religion calls on it, they come crawling back. They no longer stand with their nationalism, their state, their people, or their house. They will go back with that religion every time against another religion. It's kind of
Created
wild.
by the same system, which is the Abrahamic Legion. And yet here we are, divided into three, but they want to push for one religion, but also we're trying to fight that, but it's the same system, and it just doesn't make any sense. They use it as a tool against us. For what? For usury, for global control. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Yes, they have beautiful message in it, but the way that they're portraying it now and using it for, best way to pull on our strings is using God, and they use God against us every day. Not God against us, they use God against us.
Sometimes I feel too that like sometimes we use it on ourselves, like it's like a necessary evil in a way. Like even if you know that it's not pure and it's not the greatest thing, like it's still a necessary support system. It's almost like we need oxygen to breathe, right? But oxygen oxidizes organic matter, meaning that oxygen itself is causing your body to decay. So like you need it to survive, but it's also killing you, and there's no way around it. At least that we've figured out. And to some people, religion is kind of like that thing. Like it's going to kill you over
We
time.
didn't
It's
need
going to
it.
make your brain rot. But you also some people actually kind of need it because they might not have the same sort of, I don't
Yeah.
know, like a spiritual backbone built in.
We
So it
had
needs to be
different
taught.
laws. We had tribes. We had elders. We had the wise telling us, hey, this is how it goes. If you murder a child, if you murder a woman, guess what? Out, exiled. First, you beat the shit out of him. Exiled. Get the fuck out of here. Rapist, oh, double exile. We don't do that. We put them on pedestals, or we give them a home, you know, a nice little jail with a cell, you know, feed them, clothe
But
them,
that's because some
wash
tribes
them.
would be like, whoa, was this on a Tuesday under a full moon or not? And it's like, because if it was, then technically that's legal now.
It's just crazy. I don't know. It's great in a sense, but I feel like it's caused so much chaos because instead of like listening to your elders who know the ways, we're listening to people who wrote these books and we don't even know who they are. And they said this is the way and this is who God is, and they're trying to tell us who God is when we all know all the signs of God is all around us.
What
We're
about
talking about hadiths right now, aren't we?
I thought it was interesting that Helen came ashore on Athena in Florida. It just really, like, terminology wise, and I think Helen is so interesting because here is this like world war, but it didn't have good marketing yet, or there wasn't televisions enough maybe, or radios to call it a world war. I don't quite know why it wasn't yet, but Helen starts this world war between Sparta and Troy, like just for love, like supposedly per the story is just a man falls in love with another man's woman. And
Yeah, but
they're back.
it was a sign of dishonor. That's the type of tribe of law that I'm talking about. You dare go after another man's wife or woman? You're the most scum of scum. You deserve to be fucking dragged through the dirt. That was a sign like of like dishonor. You piece of scum. I don't care, Helen or whatever. You piece of scum. You took my woman. You're not a fucking man. You're a piece of shit. You die with her. That was yeah.
Even if it was an arranged marriage.
It probably was. That's how it was back.
It probably was because Helen's super young to her first husband, and then like Paris is like hunky and stuff. But Paris is kind of a pussy.
Yeah.
And so Paris doesn't die with honor either. Like he doesn't really have honor his entire trek.
He's a little bitch. Dishonor, just like her. Dishonor.
Paris, you're on notice.
You're on notice, motherfucker. I had to go off earlier.
What happened? Oh wait, I'm gonna pull it up. We're gonna pull it. Here's the time. Make sure you like and subscribe to everyone on the stage.
It's bleeped. Don't worry. All the bad words are bleeped.
And do find us on X and Rumble, because just in case we get kicked off YouTube. But we are gonna go to.
That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I'm putting people on notice. I don't give a shit anymore. No love and light here.
Oops,
I have Albanian blood running through my veins. There's no love and light. There's honor in my veins. That's it.
I have to go to your page and click it so I don't so I can start it from the beginning. Because okay. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what I know I almost want you to do it live. I don't even know what's about to happen.
It's funny. It's hilarious. I had to let it out.
Okay, hold on. You can't hear it. Hold on.
I'm not going to be nice. First off, why do f***ing Democrat women, if you know what the f***ing word means, look like you? Like, let me school you on something. 159 Democrats voted to pass a bill that if I were to get raped, or you, or your daughters, or anybody that you know that is a woman, if you know what the f*** that means, no, they don't go to jail. They don't get the chair. No. They get deported, and guess what? They can come back and rape you again. You sick, demented. They all look like you. Why do you guys all look alike? Why do you guys look all crazy? Are y'all okay? Y'all are more worried about my body, my choice yet? Y'all aren't concerned about what's going to happen to fucking women in this fucking nation? What am I missing here? I can't stand y'all. I really can't. Love and light, love and light. I can't. Y'all are destroying this fucking nation, and my family didn't escape communism to come to this fucking demented insanity. It's like an insane asylum. The United States has become an insane asylum. To the point you're worried about cutting off children's genitals. Y'all are genital obsessed or something. Y'all are not normal. Yes, sick. Blue tsunami.
That's it. Blue tsunami. Yeah, the past 4 fucking years. You love the blue tsunami. Yeah, the blue tsunami has destroyed this fucking nation, you sick fucks. You fucking sick fucks. They're sick.
Were you saying that lady was unrapeable?
I mean, they will rape anything. They'll rape a goat. They'll rape fucking corpses. You know, it's all there. Anything that has a hole, apparently.
Blue tsunami, you're on notice.
Yes, you're fucking on notice. I'm gonna call you motherfuckers
Wait,
out one by one.
unrapeable just through lack of desire? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like illegal rapers. That's
Yeah.
what, like, if
They passed a bill that if any woman were to get sexually assaulted, and they think this is a good thing, if any woman were to get sexually assaulted near death or assaulted or whatever, beat the fuck out of, you name it. No, they don't get jail time. No, they don't get to suffer. They get to be deported. And guess what? They get to come back in here and they get to rape you again, bitch. Like, really? This is what they want. They want this for women. Meanwhile, we're fighting for our rights, for us to just be protected, you know, be safe. All types of people are coming in through the border. Sooner or later, you're going to have everybody forced to wear a hijab.
it does kind of put the cart before the horse if you're the exception to the rule argument you always use is what about rape? And then you are like, you know what we should do? Let's skyrocket rape. It's wild.
It's wild. I'm fed up with it. I'm not going to be nice. Everyone's like, oh, it's chaotic. Oh, you know, we have to have good vibes out there. There's too much going on. No, fuck that. I'm going to be real and raw. That's what people need. Too many pussies out there.
That should be etched on the side of your gun. Good vibes.
Yeah, real and raw.
On the side of your gold gun, good vibes. This makes me think of real quick to our dreamy little audience out there. We are planning something for Wednesday nights, and it's going to be a little more produced, but we are coming up with like weird questions that kind of sometimes make us laugh and then sometimes they're kind of deep, but we thought you guys were kind of smart and deep in all the things, so maybe you could help us and just send us it or comment about it. And like a silly one example just in the moment was, if you were to meet your demise in 9/11, what airline or building would you have been in and why? And if all the official story is true. So we want these questions to be a little conspiratorial leaning about things. Not necessarily all dark, but you guys can play around with it if you think of anything clever, and we will work it into our Wednesday night shtick that we have going on. But we kind of want it to include you guys a lot. So that is a little bit of homework if you think about it. Yeah, feel free to put your weird questions in and comment them anywhere. We'll find them. We'll do due diligence. So anyways, what else?
We'll have our handlers do some reconnaissance.
Yeah, all the handlers, all the ombudsmen. Is that something is that a level of things?
Ombudsman? Well, that
Yeah.
would be one of us, right?
Oh. I'm bad with levels. I know belts, like yellow belt.
I think an ombudsman's almost like a internal affairs, but not at such a serious level. It's like an internal mystery shopper. That's how I've always understood an ombudsman.
Oh, real quick too, why I'm doing a whole bunch of if you want to come to Florida October 25th and 26th and hang out at the Joke Joint with me and Thomas and Layla and those guys from the Tower Gang and Revenge of the Sith, and there'll be a bunch of comedians there and other content providers and What Up Donut. And yeah, so if you guys want to come hang out go to brogrove.com and you can get tickets. And if for whatever reason life happens and you can't go, you could still stream it there, and it's pretty affordable, and it'll be 2 days of the stuff, and you'll probably see us
Yeah.
about.
I'm excited to link up with Leandra is funny. She's Albanian also, and she's a fucking, I love her. I'm so excited that she's going to be there. Like, I want to link up with that bitch. Shout out Leandra.
Albanian.
Mm-hmm.
Albanians cutting loose in
Go
Florida.
up to her and be like, yo, what up, sheepet? Like, what?
And there's going to be an exclusive Tower Gang card pack that I'm holding here. I don't know if
I'm going to blow
put
it
some
up.
light on it.
Yeah, you're going to have to put light on it, and then I'm going to do a little bit of this. Boom.
So we got the Tower Gang card. What else we got on here? There's Top Lobster, Raven, Clint, and then the Cis guys. And I guess I should have led with the real excited ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so cute.
That's Chaney.
Yeah, so cute.
That's me. Got to. I'm on the card, guys. I'm so happy.
There's Abbie. And hell, we even got a donut in there. Even if
it's so
whether or
great.
not he's there, we've
Donut?
now donuts in the Paranoid American packs, or at least coming up.
So if you guys haven't checked out those packs, they're really cool. Do you have any of the other cards offhand?
I don't have them in front of me. I can go grab them in a second.
They're super cool. They're everyone from like Timothy McVeigh in there, right?
It's I don't know if I can list them all, but it's, the latest additions were Tim McVeigh, Dr. Ewan Cameron, Dr. Jolly West. We got William Cooper, Alex Jones, Isaac Cappy, Bill Hicks. Because we had Alex Jones, we had to have Bill Hicks in there. Let's see, Werner von Braun. We also have Freeway Ricky Ross. And I'm spacing on whoever and Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah, they're really dope. And so it'll be some of your favorite content providers mixed in with some of your favorite conspirators or conspiracies. They'll also be, I don't want to give anything away that Thomas has coming out unless he wants to.
Well, we'll have some cryptid ones too. There's going to be a Bigfoot and a Mothman, like all of those guys. And maybe even, maybe towards the end of the year, I'm looking to get some Garbage Pail Kids style cards added to it that are actually stickers on the back of a card.
Ooh, cool.
They've got like a little kiss cut and stuff. So I don't know. It takes a while to get it up to the level that I feel like it's worthy of being released. So
yeah, so go to paranoidamerican.com and you can start collecting your packs today, because you never know when they'll become limited series, because he is going to be adding foil packs sometime, and then eventually they'll become less and less, and it'll matter.
Like right now there's less than 50 wand cards at all. So now like the wand card just immediately became a rare. And that's because when we did the Chosen One issue 2, when I ordered that pack of cards, I gave him a whole bunch that he could just like give out to people, but that means that they haven't been making it into the packs as much. So if anyone's got a foil wand card, I don't even have that. I don't even know if wand has any foil. So they're as rare as can be, I guess.
Yeah, so you could start collecting your pack, and if you're into this sort of thing, it might matter someday. So I'm a collector. I like that kind of stuff.
I'm like so like, I love that I'm on a fucking playing card. That's like, never in a million years did I ever think I would be on a playing card, guys.
I'm going to go to Brohemian Grove and have you sign it.
I love it.
Well, hopefully that'll be one of the pulls, is that if you go to Brohemian Grove, you can get your card signed by the people.
I'm excited by it. And if you guys see them, the cards are so clever. Like the front's one thing and the back's a whole nother thing. And they're all pretty funny. Everyone's made me laugh. So
Tex Mars is on the list, since someone asked. Marley Mark asked. Tex Mars is definitely on, just like Jim Mars is on the list.
I know. I almost think like I have an idea, and I don't know if I want to give it to you right now or if I should give it to you off air. I feel like I should give it to you off air. I think I'm going to. It's our audience. I think you should do blind items on some. Whodunits and what ifs, like the Lindbergh baby and like those like we were talking about who all weekend from the plane. What's his face? DB
DB Cooper.
Cooper. Yeah. I think some of those like big conspiracies that haven't been really solved or figured out, or even things like the Shroud of Turin, things that are like questioned or iffy. I don't know. Who knows what will make it on. So you guys, if you have any good ideas, shout out Thomas. You never know.
It'll be forever growing. Like the list of cards is already over 200 or something, and I think originally was aiming for about 265 because when you get cards made, they do them in packs of 55. But so I mean, as soon as I hit that right number, I'll probably do like a proper official foil pack release, all shrink wrapped and all that. But for right now, I think what is going on now is pretty awesome. Where
It is
like
so
I'm
awesome.
hand packing them, so if someone orders like 5 packs or whatever, I'll do my best to make sure they don't get duplicates. You know what I mean? And I'll insert like a bunch of different stickers and foils. And I mean, some other things I've been throwing around in my brain is like maybe sketch cards. Me and Donut were even talking about the Illuminati comic we're running. Maybe we'll do some special release Illuminati packs where it's just a pack of Illuminati member cards and maybe some random inserts where like Donut drew something, or maybe I'll draw something on like a sketch card, or all kinds of cool ideas. And I think that these cards, they were like an unexpected nice little surprise because it's another little thing that every time a new project comes out, I can add another 10 cards to the pack. I can add another few stickers or whatever. So it's like a cool extra little motivator to keep pushing.
I'm going to be back in 1 minute. I'm going to switch over to my phone because my charger for my computer is not working for some reason. And I'm going to come right back on.
See you soon.
Okie dokie.
See you
Watch
soon.
the internet's going to be way better too because it's going to be coming from a satellite.
For sure. A good
She's
one.
like, I'm going to restore my ammunition.
Be right
See
back.
you in a sec. Yeah. I just
so me and you did a Comic-Con last weekend, right? That was a thing. So what did you think?
I felt like my biggest thing that I came away from a Comic-Con in general with was, this is a lot more them they than I remembered. That's just the biggest thing I came away from a Comic-Con with. And now I just felt like when I was a kid, like people were Thor and like Superman, and like it was like men playing too, and like women were sexy. There were some sexy women there and some grown men in costumes. Like there was a bomb ass Wookiee. But so much of things is leaning toward this like kitty purr ears and foxtails that it was just like, oh, and you're like, you've been obviously more than I have to them, that you're like,
They're
they've
called
been
personas, excuse you.
you're like, it's been getting more and more anime-ish, you know, as
Well, even when I first started in around like 2012, and I think I started going to conventions just as like a visitor around. I mean, since forever, but like really hardcore in like the mid 2000s. And even by then, there was a very obvious trend where most people, it seemed, were going to the comic conventions because they wanted to see what the new Marvel trailer coming out was going to be, or they wanted to get their favorite movie or TV star to sign a picture of them. And it was a Comic-Con by name only. Like once you actually got the ticket for the Comic-Con, comics were out, you know, like the biggest thing that made Comic-Con start blowing up again was Walking Dead, but not Walking Dead the comic, but Walking Dead the TV series. And then even if you go around and look as a vendor, it's pretty much all just like Funko Pops and sort of unlicensed sketches of all these other like big industry things. So if a Marvel movie comes out, you're going to have a whole bunch of Marvel action figures and Marvel, like juice boxes and like all sorts of thermos cups, like anything you can imagine. The same thing is that when a movie comes out, that's what's in the Happy Meal toys, and that's what's in all the aisles on Walmart and all the lunch pails. Like it's that same exact beast, that like PR monster. And I think Comic-Con just becomes another one of its outlets out into like smaller communities. But it's not really like a small local thing for almost any of them. There's one called the Small Press Expo. But even in those, even if it's like actually focused on comics, then it goes even harder into the they them dynamic that you're bringing up. Like that, like it gets mild when people can dress up as a guy. Like if I wanted to dress up and I could dress up as Thor, but if you go to one of these small press expos, it's like, oh, check out the misogynist over here. I'm sure he even think about dressing up as a girl. Like that's probably not even on the menu for him. And I feel like that's kind of the avenue that a lot of these small press end up going with.
What I will say though is being at the Paranoid American table, I was kind of surprised at how the people that grab conspiracies and what it kind of made me happy in the world that we're headed in the direction that it wasn't an age bracket, it wasn't a color of skin,
Absolutely.
it wasn't a sex. It was like the person that has the calling to look into the obscure, the esoteric, the conspiracies. It's like the same thing that all of you watching. It's like you don't know why. It's not the popular thing to look into. It doesn't make you cool at parties to be the conspiracy person and feel this like draw toward that thing. And so it was exciting to see that it's still there. Like that the same little kid in me was like some of the little kids that they got some things that I was like, what? Like they were knowledgeable too about some stuff that I was kind of impressed with.
One of my favorites too is like so many comments where someone was like, I didn't expect to see that word today. You know, that adrenaline derivative.
Oh yeah. That was my
and then
favorite.
other people that are like, because I've got a huge like blind bag that's got the word right on the front. It looks like a Mountain Dew bag. And a bunch of people that were interested and like, oh, what's that? And I realized that I don't really have a quick 5 to 10 second explanation for what it is for an absolute normie just walking off the street like, oh, I like the logo. Tell me what that means. Like, I need to work on that because I'm not even sure what that explanation would be.
It was kind of fun too, is like there was a few hardcore fans like I would imagine myself being. I would be walking through there, like maybe I'll find some cute poster or purse and then come across this conspiracy table and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to drop all my money here. Like, oh my gosh, so excited. And there was like one guy and he first saw like, you know, the occultist Mondays, and then he saw like a sticker, and then he was like, oh my gosh, as he got around to the Legos of like
Bohemian Grove
Hillary.
yeah.
Yeah. It was just like watching their heads get like, are you kidding me? And then another weird thing is that was totally separate is the guys that bought just the Illuminati comics where
Yes.
and when they bought one,
and girls.
yeah, and girls, if they bought one, some of them came back the next day to buy the rest of them. And then some people bought all four or wanted to wait for all four, even if they were like, I'll come back to your table in a minute. Like, I want all four. And then I was thinking how these people like sincerely probably just loved everything about the art and they're going to be woken up to things.
And also, this one was one of my favorites too, is that again, a lot of people are making comments like, oh yeah, people will sell like an adult comic, but you know, it shows like a nipple here and there. And they would walk by and just open up, and no matter what page you open this book up to, it's like, oh my. Like, even if you don't even have the pearls to normally clutch, there's like, is that the Washington Monument inside of the Statue of Liberty? Oh my God.
There were some people that they untouched it like it was actually covered in filth, and then some person walked away, and I don't feel like they had like a broken English accent, but they were like, the Statue of Liberty, they should not be doing that. It was like my favorite comment
in this country. Thank you very much.
Yeah, like what did our soldiers die for if the Statue of Liberty can't do what the fuck she wants?
Right?
Her body, her choice.
Can you hear me, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Loud and
Yeah,
clear.
okay. Can you zoom me in on the thing? How you do it usually?
I don't know if I can, but oh wait, maybe I do it this way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That works. Yeah.
That's the only other way.
Okay, cool.
We're all going with you.
Yay.
Why do
makes
you look
me
like
feel like I
you're
have to
doing
sit back.
like the morning news in Times Square or something?
I don't know what background this is, honestly. I don't know what this is.
It
It
looks
was
like you
on
have
there.
a very fancy apartment.
I do. Look at it. Look at it, guys. It's real. It's real.
It's
My
real.
pad. It's my pad back here. Living large.
Well, that's a good point. Statue of Liberty is a dude, so technically it's a trans comic.
Is it a dude? They say it's it resembles that photo that
The
Jacob
Colossus of
Rothschild,
Rhodes.
the painting of that, I guess is Lucifer, and Jacob Rothschild is in front of it with that other character. I forgot who it was. It was some
Marina
female. Oh yes, there you go. And it resembles that face, and they're like, "Oh, that's Lucifer, and we don't know it."
Do you know what the Colossus of Rhodes is?
I've heard of it, but it doesn't like.
I will show you a picture.
can't
of the
connect.
Colossus of Rhodes.
It was supposed to be standing on the Gibraltar, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
And so it's almost like they just put a robe, like they just took it down, saved the head, put a robe on it, and then put it up. But there's some people that say it like stepped. Some people say it was on the side, and then some people say it was
Now
like
it's saying like if you want to come into this country, you got to swap genders. That's part of the rules.
they're like, come through here.
Well, that's
Make-
what they're doing.
Oh,
Make
7 years of
sure
bad
you
luck.
tickle my taint with your mask.
Come across the border, and we will pay for your gender reassignment. And it's happening.
I wonder if you can identify as two people and vote twice.
Oh my God. I don't think anyone has ever brought that to anyone's attention.
Well, there is
Ever.
Two-Spirit, right? Two-Spirit is one of like the pluses when they says LGBTQIA plus. One of those pluses is Two-Spirit, and if you're Two-Spirit, then I would assume that means that those two spirits don't necessarily. I don't know what it even really means. I'm not going to pretend like I do, but I'd assume two spirits can have two different opinions on something.
Okay, what about if I identify as a cat? Are we going to change it that cat's vote? And if we change it that cat's vote, can I bring my cat POTUS with me to the voting booth?
Well, fake anyway, so yeah, why not?
You hear that, you cat people? You're fucking nuts. You are. I think it started with anime because certain animes, apparently, like, what's that anime that everyone loved? They're not really people, but they're cats. They're cat people. Not Hello Kitty. Hold on. Pokemon is one of them. Like they're cats. Like there's a whole thing on it, and that they're like actually cat people, and how anime is like the starter of all these weird things that all these kids like. Vor, for instance, is one of them.
Vor.
Vor. Yeah.
This is sort of little known, but the longest running subscription based comic book in North America is a furry porn comic book. It's an adult furry book. It has been running longer with consecutive issues than any Marvel, any DC, any Image comic book that's ever existed. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. It might be called Persona or something.
That is.
This is a funny story. You have to relay this real quick to like, because people are at like, I didn't know, like, you're like, oh my God, I love your costume. And then
right. Well, that was my at another Comic-Con we did earlier this year. My girlfriend was just trying to pay a compliment to these furries that came up to the table, and she said like, I love your character, I love your costume or something. And I don't know if it was like an offensive thing. It was almost as if she had misgendered them, because they took the time to kind of correct her, and then we're just like, just so you know, like, we are personas. It's not a character, and it's not a costume. It's a persona. And it was almost like, so now you know, bitch. You know what I mean? It had like listen and learn sort of a feel to it. And yeah, so now you know that they're called personas. They're not characters, and they're not furries.
Make circuses great again.
that's what something feels like to me. like something about the sideshow is the things that the elite consider beautiful. And like the stuff we consider grotesque. So
Like
it'd
the
be
pickle
like,
punks, right?
yeah, like Lobster Boy, the bearded lady, like everything on the side of the circus that people would be horrified, freaks,
What
whatever.
if
That's what they're turning our world into.
what if circuses are hidden arenas for testing that has gone array or wrong, and that's where they decided that they should put them as like, oh my god, look, the bearded lady, oh my god, the double jointed da 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 da. Yeah, they took the needle juice and that's where they put them all, and they said, look at the freak shows, y'all, look what we created,
Well,
our versions of
ironically,
our
they all end up in
homunculus.
Florida. They all end up in Gibsonton, right?
Is that true?
That is true. That's
Oh
like the
god.
main place that like I think they're a dying breed at this point, but all of those carnies and those like circus sideshow freaks that you're talking about,
Are
Lobster
they?
Boy,
They're
they
everywhere.
mostly moved to a town in Florida called Gibsonton.
I think they spread. I don't think they're in Gibson. I think it's everywhere in
Well,
the
I
United
think
States.
there's also Ybor City, like there's a town of psychics in Florida that they're all supposed to be like when they first started, they were like the crystal ball ladies and people in the circus. And then there's also a town of little people in Florida. I don't know where it is, but this is like this Florida myth, like the Loch Ness monster.
Hmm.
Maybe it's what you're talking about though. Maybe
It might be Gibsonton.
yeah, it could be. Florida is
Interesting.
interesting. There's
But
also
and then
the
there's reason for it too. The same reason that we've got Ringling here, like the art school, but also like the whole Barnum and Bailey dynasty sort of had a headquarters here. Like the Ringling Museum kind of shows that Florida was home to the circus in so many different ways. Like for the entire nation's circus. Hell, even the movie Dumbo takes place in Florida.
that
Garden of Eden, baby. That's where
there's a
everything
ton about the
started.
Florida elephants. Like Miami elephants, you can probably I wonder if I can even put that right in Google because I like stuff that's still there that we can still find today. Miami elephants. Would I put history? I'm like, what other word will I put that it doesn't pull up like Rosie was acquired. Elephants have been part of Miami's history in several ways, including Rosie the elephant. I don't want one elephant. It keeps pulling up Rosie the elephant. But apparently in Miami Beach, there was like
I believe there was tons of elephants here. The land is perfect for that type of lifestyle for elephants to exist and live.
there was a couple of elephant sanctuaries too around. I don't know if they're still around.
That's so annoying.
I don't know. Elephants would be hard to take care of. They're really jealous too because they think humans are the cutest thing they've ever seen. Like they think we're kitten cute. And that is so endearing to me for some reason that an elephant looks at
is.
us like you walk by an elephant, like if a bunch of humans come see it, it's like, oh my God, look at all these kittens.
Yeah, I want to pet them all.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were an elephant and you had to live in the States, it seems Florida would probably be prime pickings.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's lush. It's very lush.
Very moist here.
Doesn't it seem also like pigs go out in the wilderness and they turn into like hairy tusk things? Yeah, like they change. Don't you think elephants just would become woolly mammoths if we released them in Alaska?
It might take like a million years.
Doesn't it just seem like maybe they're lying about some things?
They are, not
Aren't
just
pigs
some.
and elephants the same family? Or am I just making that up in my brain?
I don't know. That's a good question. They
We're
kind of
like,
look
because we're like
a
98%
lot.
the same as pigs.
It's like the nose was cut off. That's one thing.
Well, woolly mammoths, if you believe the Rockefeller education that we all got in public school, but woolly mammoths existed 14,000 years ago, which isn't that long on like a true scale, right?
Vero Man is something that they discovered a whole bunch of human bones with mastodon bones that they were like working and living next to each other in Florida for a long time. I'm sure other places too, but
I wonder if they
elephants.
have like alien portals.
Well, that's what's so interesting to me is certain animals like kind of make no sense if you think they kind of eat the same thing, and then if you look up an elephant skull, it looks like a cyclops, so you almost wonder if they found certain skulls. Oh, three eyes, that's sweet of you. You almost wonder if they found certain skulls of things and then they were like, oh my gosh, this was a monster, because they'd never seen a dead that thing before. You're awesome too, thank you. Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna find an elephant skull.
Are we talking about like the pineal gland area, like that third eye, where even in humans you can show that there was like previous example of having an optic nerve that used to go there, and it just became defunct at a certain point.
This is an elephant skull.
So weird.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
How you might come across it and be like, holy shit.
That
the
reminds me of Darth
Cyclops was
Vader.
here.
Like a Darth Vader mask almost.
Sometimes I just think the skulls of things is where they just, we know all the silly dinosaurs they drew around skulls and putting shit together. But also whales. I think if you ever see a beached whale skeleton, that shit looks alien as fuck, that you'd be like, that is a sea monster.
Yeah, what's the actual skeleton that does look alien-y that they use to like take skulls of this animal and say put them together in pieces and say, oh look, we found a fucking alien, like a miniature alien, but meanwhile it's part of some kind of weird some kind of animal, maybe a feline animal. I don't remember.
Oh, I don't know. Do you remember?
The elephant would probably do the trick too.
Yeah.
The elephant skull too, a really cool thing about that hole that's in the middle of their skull is basically a subwoofer so that they can hear like low frequency noises.
I forgot what skull they used.
So imagine having like a subwoofer like in your head.
Look at these whale skulls.
I'm surprised at the size of these beings, like elephants and whales. Yeah, they have their own form of communication, but like they can't even speak. Like, I mean, the way we speak is pretty advanced, but I mean, their brains are larger.
Look at that whale skull as a plague mask.
That's so crazy. Just, I don't know, so weird. Dolphins, they have bigger brains.
They haven't
we could
done
talk, they can't.
though, because humans, even if their brains are smaller than some of these other animals, I think that a lot of it gets attributed to quantum leap in intelligence, which was supposed to have been like a 4x in the surface area of our brains. Like we used, people call them like smooth brains. Like, all right, smooth brain, because before that quantum leap, people apparently actually had a smoother brain. It had like less wrinkles in it, so there was less surface area. So you could be super smart and super advanced with the tiniest of brains, as long as it was really compact. It had a bunch of wrinkles in it. Now all of a sudden you could be super smart.
Huh.
And I think that's why dolphins are so smart, is because they also have more surface area.
Fascinating. You guys hear of this like myth that all types of psychedelics, from deliriums to like hallucinogenics, enter you into different levels of dimensions, and that's why each trip is different from the other, because you get to tap into a different level of dimension. Like recently I discovered one of these plants that starts with a D. I forgot what it's called. But apparently it lasts for 3 days, and this whole time these people are tripping and they're grabbing things that are not there, like a comb, and they'll start combing their hair, and they're seeing these beings like shadow beings, and they're not very nice beings. And then shamans use it.
If it's
Datura. There you go, Datura.
Which is basically scopolamine, which is like devil's breath, which is what the CIA used to give people to terrify them and get like information out of them because it's like a torture drug.
Yeah, so it's like they're coming up with this idea that each different psychedelic puts you into a different dimension, and that's why you see different things with different substances. So I don't know, it kind of makes sense to me in a sense. Sense.
You can go temporarily blind on the Torah too.
Really?
Like act like you'll just stop being able to see out of your eyes.
Obviously, they were made for a reason, and they're here for a reason. They're not just put there, oh, hey, look, we have the Torah, we have opium, we have marijuana. Oh, don't touch them, though. They don't do anything. But here they do things to us in our brain, and we're experiencing something, and it's like, oh, it's just a psychedelic. It has to be something more. Has to be. Mushrooms, a whole fucking system of them, and you take certain ones, you could either die, trip, or just nothing.
I have had 3 eyes, but most psychedelics are the same and take you to the same place. And this is something like even Thomas and I discussed it a little.
Not for me.
Dude, some psychedelics I will never try in my whole life because I don't want to go there. And then like DMT is significantly different than mushrooms, and mushrooms are so different than LSD. And then I never want to touch salvia.
No, I don't. And there's so
such a
many
bad
others.
advocate. If I almost wish that everyone that knew me would be like, I need to try salvia. It sounds so great. It's not. It's terrible. It's horrifying, but I love it, and I think everyone should love it. And it's sad that more people don't want to be terrified.
But why? Why to be terrified? For why?
Because to me, it's almost like it's removing the inebriation part. Like there's almost no euphoria to it. So it almost, in like a weird way, it's almost like it's more like there's like you have to have a noble cause behind it, or that like you're actually trying to learn something from it. It's not just because you were bored. It's not just because you wanted to escape reality for a moment in time, because there's way like you could just veg out on the couch and it'll be way better of an escape from reality than doing salvia.
So if I go in with an intent to say, hey, I am searching for a deep answer for my soul or something, and I want to meet somebody in this realm of salvia, can you tell me what this all is? And it'll give me like an answer with salvia, or
I don't think so. You'll forget that you even had a brain or a question or an ego.
Oh my
at all once
God.
you break through. Like
Oh.
you're in a completely different universe that has different rules and different morals and ethics, and you're completely detached. You are so far gone that there is no Layla or humankind or Earth or anything until you snap back into reality again. But it's like you can't bring anything with you there, like that. And I guess that's part of the cool thing too about it. I don't know. It's fascinating to me, but it's not fun. It's not something that you would like bring
alien.
up to a party. Like everyone hates it if they tried it at a party, like they will absolutely hate it. But to me, that's
Aliens.
what makes me like it so fucking much.
I can't hear you, Chaney.
I'm glad this was brought up on the alien episode, because if people theorize of whether or not space is real, but there could be entities that come through portals, and then there could be other entities that you kind of meander with, maybe in their territory, like psychedelics, where you're the alien, maybe.
See,
Maybe.
I really did feel more of like an atheist, maybe borderline agnostic, until salvia in particular. And not just me doing salvia, but seeing other people do salvia many times, the first and last time. A lot of them too had never heard of it, had no preconceived notions. And I made a very strong point that if I met someone that was trying it for their first time, that they knew what it was going to be going in, but like I put nothing on it. I didn't like say, here's what to expect, here's what you're going to see, none of that. And so many people came back saying that like, I went to this room and there was this lady and I couldn't see her face. And some people were telling them, like, the lady said, nope, not this time. Like, she closed the door on me. And another one, she was like, yeah, come on. Oh, come on through the door. It's open to you. And they were like, no, it's okay. Maybe next time. And then they like snap out of it. And then that there's like all these other little, I guess, like people call them like the clockwork gnomes or whatever, the DMT entities. There's salvia entities too, but they're kind of like these mischievous trickster gatekeepers where you'll show up and you're like, all right, I did it. I smoked the salvia. I'm here. This is crazy, right? And they'll be like, yeah, but you're not ready. Like you didn't
Get the
come
fuck
here
out.
with the yeah, like kind of like we're having fun, but guess what? It's not going to be fun for you. And it's wild to see so many people from different paths of life, ages, everything. Like 60-year-old professionals that I met at Disney, like 20-year-old freaking hoodlums that were like stealing Macs out of people's apartments and stuff. Like all of them all seem to report this exact same sort of phenomenon. And after this happened so many times, I started opening my mind up to like, maybe there are aliens, maybe there are entities, or maybe it's just like some weird egregore archetype that I don't want to say communicate, but that like you understand it in a different sort of state.
Well, with ayahuasca, a lot of people see the purple lady, this lady, and she's purple, and not everyone, but a lot of people report seeing her. Or a snake being, like a serpenty,
I get
like
that, yeah.
snake being. And I'm just like, this is making more sense to me every day. The more I hear people's testimonies and the different stories, but a lot of them are similar with the type of drug that they do take.
DMT faces that they see, or the people, the things they meet on DMT sometimes are very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel like they're the ways for us to go through. It's a portal to these dimensions. Those are like keys to open portals.
On the topic that I won't mention, but that adrenaline derivative.
That's one of them.
Some of the earlier experiments with this and theories, and this isn't even a joke, but this was written in a article called "Blood of a Wig" that came out in High Times, but it was based on real thinking around this substance, this adrenaline derivative, and they would get it from schizophrenia patients in the insane asylums. But the idea was that if you took one of these schizophrenics' essence and put it into your body and became your essence, then not only would you feel the way that they were feeling, but you would somehow be able to remember some of their memories, and you would actually be like experiencing life from their point of view. And that exact same concept I've heard being applied to drugs and plants, that when you ingest a certain plant, the reason that everyone seems to share similar feelings and theories and all that is because you're kind of becoming that plant in a way. And I guess in a dumb way, but some people are like, oh, I can't drink tequila, I can only do mezcal, right? If I do, gin, I get angry or something, like there's like certain, and maybe that's because, and I guess, like vodka comes from potato's nightshade. So that's datura and scopolamine. So I mean, like, you might be just kind of living out this, like these other sort of like life forms, I guess.
I was going down that rabbit hole today with, not today, for the past 3 days, about mezcal. And mezcal, there's studies on this, not just because it's agave, forget tequila, but mezcal on its own. Shamans even using that, where they like take it and spray it on the person with their mouth. It's like to get rid of evil spirits, but it is the most healing type of alcohol that you could fucking possibly drink. I am not even kidding you. I was reading the medical research on it, why the fermented agave and the way it's done with mezcal. It's anti-inflammatory. I mean, you do this for 7 days in the morning, take a shot of it, like really good mezcal, not and non-contaminated, like no chemicals in it, just pure fucking straight mezcal, like really good mezcal. Take a shot of it for 7 days. Any gut problems, any liver problems, any parasitic problems, any failure of the organ or whatever, it'll clean out your gut system like mwah, in 7 days. So
except liver failure, I assume.
No, it's not damaging to the liver at all. Like if you have liver flukes, It helps with that. Any of that like fungal shit that goes on in your gut, it is so healthy for your gut. It's a probiotic. It's like a really good probiotic. And I'm like, what the fuck? And like they're giving us wheat alcohol, corn alcohol, potato alcohol that shoots up your blood sugar, and the spiritualness behind the mezcal and the agave, and why it's the way it's like done and brewed. It's just like plum. Like we have plum back home. Ours is like a plum raki. Now, old men to this day will preach on this every morning. Take a shot. They even get cotton pads and wipe their eyes with it. 98-year-old men have better eyesight than I do. Built, strong, tough. Like some of these spirits are actually good spirits, and some of them are not so good. The grapes are good, the plums, the apricots, the agave.
Well, on that same note of like some of the spirits are good, some are bad, like the same way that some people will be like, oh, those salvia spirits are bad, or that tequila spirits are bad or whatever. But also, if you showed up to party, right, and like the spirit that you end up having inhabit your body is not there to party, it's not like, no, it's not fun, get crazy, get wild time. It's like introspective time. You might interpret that as like, oh, these are bad spirits, these are bad demons, they don't want me to have a good time at this party. So like sometimes they get thrown out as bad or evil or like a bad experience just because it's not what you had planned. And it's almost like it doesn't matter what you had planned at that point. Like you're going
absinthe.
on a trip.
Absinthe. Whatever happened to the original stuff?
Absinthe makes the heart grow fonder, I've heard.
Yeah, that's one of them. But no, illegal. Moonshine. Real moonshine. Good moonshine with different fruits, different fermentation processes. Some of it is good for you. It really is, believe it or not. I'm like, what? But the shit that we drink today is not really good for you. That's the problem.
And probably like in excess. And then to do stuff every day.
Yes.
Like probably maybe everything has its place, but it's like we do everything.
Time and place, yes.
But who moderates the shamans, right? Who tells the shaman, like, I think you've had enough ayahuasca for today, right? Like there's probably some shamans out there that are like, I have no limit.
I have a weird theory, and this is kind of off topic a tiny bit, but maybe other people can look into it. I think today or yesterday, the sunflower painting by Van Gogh got oil, like
baby oil,
tomato souped for big oil, like say no to big oil. And so I was thinking about this. This is the second time that it's happened to this sunflower painting, and one of the big, huge kind of wars between Ukraine and Russia is sunflower oil. And so I just think it's interesting that it's say no to big oil and then it's on the sunflower painting. Do you think somehow there is like sunflower comms I don't know about, or sunflower seed comms that I don't know about, with Zelensky being in the country hitting on big Kamala right now?
Well,
is this a weird conspiracy? Do I see pattern everywhere?
Probably, and it probably has a lot to do with the smiley face.
Like, I think everything with the news is comms. I don't think anything. If only 4 dudes own the news, then they're just speaking to each other through it. What do they give a shit like about actually informing us with anything?
They don't.
They decide what to tell us. Like there's paintings oiled every day, and they're like, nothing happened to the painting. It was behind glass. Then why are you giving these idiots attention? Who gives a shit? Arrest them. Get them out of the museum.
No.
Like,
no.
It just seems like all sunflower comms. Anyways, that's my Ukraine Russia gate with sunflower oil. Something's going on there. And
at this point, if they're even showing the real paintings, like that's on them. Haven't you seen enough of these idiots that are like duct taping themselves to paintings and throwing tomato paste? Like, of course they shouldn't be showing the originals to anybody. And then at that point, the news articles are really, it's just like 2 activists threw tomato paste on a replica of a painting, and no one really cares except for the fact that we are reporting on it, and now you care about it.
Oh my god.
And then, but this is what happens, that they're already doing it because we all came up in the time where the Mona Lisa had a like resting bitch face, like, and now she's like this.
What's even funnier too is that like one inconsiderate Chinese tourist can do way more damage than like the most well thought out activists, right? Like all it takes is like a Chinese tour group, and it's like 50,000 years of history has just been destroyed because someone was trying to take a selfie and they didn't care if they knocked something over. Meanwhile, like they've got these European kids that come up and try to make these big statements, and they're not even causing any damage.
I mean, or it could be Israel with a push of a button, and all of a sudden your phone starts to explode and your devices start to explode in your face, and that can happen too.
Well,
blow up entire buildings. Why don't you?
So, do you remember here? You know how I was bringing up General Soleimani, like chess pieces, like future proving past to me in ways of like that would be a very dangerous chess piece if my favorite president didn't take care of it and killed General Soleimani without Congress knowing about it. And so they got all upset. And he was an Iranian in Iraq, which was super weird. Another weird chess piece, I think, is the Beirut fertilizer firework factory that exploded. That there's no way that was a fertilizer plant, you guys.
No,
that
it was
like
not.
a fucking bomb. And if it was deeper in the city, in the underground, it would have done way more damage. That is an interesting chess piece that it's not there anymore. Like, especially Beirut in the news again. Beirut's been in the news my whole life, but Beirut in the news. They want us to know about Beirut.
Yeah, well, now forget Hamas. Now we have Hezbollah. Who's next? What's the next name?
It's Hamas, Hezbollah, Al Qaeda, Sunnis, Shiites.
Oh my God. Like Lebanon, you go to Lebanon, is beautiful, man. It's like a non-terrorist state. Women are out there doing their thing, like non-Islamic, like like they're Muslim, a majority Muslim, but they're not like Hadith Muslim where everyone's fucking covered in hijabs and forced to like marry this person. No, they have freedom there. Women go to school there. They have rights there. And now they're gonna change that whole fucking country and turn into an Islamic state, a terroristic state, because Israel does it over and over again. And I don't care to call them out because I really don't care. And it's not against the Jews. It's against the Zionists. Love my Jewish people. Just saying.
Somebody timestamp Layla kissing Jewish people like that.
Yeah, because real Jews
cute.
know, man.
No, I
real
just like
Jews
that.
know.
That's your new, because if people are going to be on notice, sometimes you might have segments that you just have to be like, I just want to give love.
You're gonna get a hug.
Yeah, you're gonna get a hug.
Well,
Like-
and you're describing Lebanon almost as like Iran before Operation Ajax, which was when the CIA decided to root out the people that were running it, that was actually allowing, freedom. But there was one little catch, is that he also wanted to be able to run all of the like the oil plants that the British had originally set up there. So we were like, no, we got to find a guy that'll like let us run the oil refineries. And because once they let him in, they didn't realize how to run the oil refineries, so they just let everyone else use it. And then once the CIA and the US and Britain eventually get kicked out after Ajax, all the oil refineries just go to shit anyways, because no one knew how to maintain or use them.
They did that with most of the Arab countries. Most of the Arab countries were fine until, I don't want to say it, but ever since they went in there, United States helping, because
do you think
why not?
A lot of the Arab countries didn't play along with the finite resource of dinosaurs?
What do you mean?
Do you think like they were just had their refineries and going on about their business and having their luscious countries that were rich at the time? It had old culture with a lot of ancient buildings that we know now they're like pulling Gilgamesh out of, or at least that's what WikiLeaks would have us believe. And so it's like things like this, maybe they had an old culture when people even talk about like Tataria or ancient Antiquitech. Maybe in the Middle East was the last remaining of that had to be destroyed. If some people even
Probably.
say that the Titanic was something that we couldn't run anymore, and so they just had to destroy it. Maybe there's a lot in the Middle East that they had to like, because look at the temples there. And when you go inside some of those places, like they'll be 1,000 years old. And it is breathtaking. It's breathtaking in video. I can't even imagine seeing it in person. It blows the cathedral out of the water. Like it's like the things the TV tells us that are the big things aren't the really most beautiful things. There's some
Mhm.
things in the Middle East that are like, what? Even inside the bathhouse, like that we all hear shit about, like of, with Epstein and everything, that if you look at the Aleppo bathhouse, that his temple looks just like, I can even pull it up, but inside of these places are unbelievable, like
Yeah.
ancient. They have ones that are thousands of years old with like just,
Mirrors.
oh
This
my
one,
gosh.
it's like thousands and thousands of little mirrors placed precisely. And I don't know how long. I think it's like over 1,000 years old, this mosque, but it's one of the most beautiful mosques. Forget the name of it. Just the structure. Forget what the religious building. How it's designed, breathtaking when you see it. It's like, oh my God. Just like the one, the Taj Mahal.
That's what I always think Epstein, the temple they always say
Mm.
that is, I always think it looks like this bathhouse in Aleppo.
That's nice. Someone should make
Strange.
like a replica of that and like make it accessible to Westerners.
Uh-huh.
When I lived in Los Angeles for a while on Melrose, like there's still bathhouses to this day. They're just so gay. And there's just a door and you have to know where it is, and it's just gay men inside.
Well, it's weird, maybe just because Florida and America, right? But it's weird because it's not like bathhouses existed here originally, so there's no historical relevance for it to be there. It's just like, oh yeah, the ancients really had something going on there with just like the public bathing with each other. We need to go
Our
ahead and
arch
bring that back.
our architecture sucks. Like literally, no more bathhouses, no more like, what are they called? Where you have your courtyard in the middle of your house and, beauty everywhere. No, 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 no. Everyone has to live in a fucking box, the box system. So weird. Like, why do we design houses the way we do? First off,
Brutality. That's what the
ugh,
box system is. It's all a brutal infrastructure.
I
And
want a
so I also
courthouse.
think if you want to, like, in a witchy way, or because that Mrs. Hufflepuff or whatever her name is from Harry Potter, she passed away, in a witchy way, I would think a curved building, like anyone that tells you the sage, or if you go into a Catholic church, how they come in with the sage hanging from the lanterns, a curved building, no bad energy would catch in the corners. But in a square building, like it doesn't even hold tone the same. Like echoes shit. Like it changes the way you would sound to other people.
Yeah, and
So it
they
seems like
design it.
harmonics. Yeah.
Yeah, they design it in a way where, especially the person who's speaking, they design that space, especially that point, that they could hear every single person in that room whisper whatever they're whispering. Like it is designed so perfect, like the acoustics and how the sound vibrates through the building. That specific point and where that person's sitting, standing, and speaking can hear every single person in that room. It's designed so masterfully. But here we are today.
That's what a lot of those old, if you even, there's still some of them great ones in this country that if you just stand there, outdoor coliseums, they're in a lot of college towns, and you can just stand and talk just like this, and you'll be talking to like 30 rows of people without having to raise your voice.
Mhm.
It's like we knew how to build shit. We didn't need all these electrical wires. This is the other thing about Rockefeller. We talk about the education system, we talk about the medical system, we talk about, but every single wire that is in existence, this is why Edison energy had to be pushed. It's all the fucking wires. It's like we're trapped in wires inside walls, inside wires, so we're not just in brutality inside the squares we can see. We're inside squares upon squares upon squares. Our energy does not flow at all. It doesn't flow to each other. It doesn't flow. It's just like we're boxed into here and then boxed into here. And no matter how far away you go, I've been to the middle of the fucking ocean and I see telephone poles. And that is Rockefeller. That is something they don't talk about. All those wires everywhere. Like, what
It
the
reminds me
fuck?
of 2000 Years of Longing with that genie and at that scene where all the wires and the frequency of him being in the city is just like making him sick, and it's just a demon that's feeling that, and he's like thinking to himself like, how do people live here in that? So just imagine what it's doing to diamonds, what it's doing to fucking genies, jinn. That should be a good thing, no? All these wires and frequency.
Maybe it does something and that's where I think like sage, like there's certain of the herbs and stuff they would use in ceremonial that even the locks on your doors were made out of metal because they knew spirits could get in your house. And the metal was the only thing that could hold the prayer.
Can I tell you something?
What?
I saw a TikTok of this Native American liberal, okay, and she's going on a rant cursing out white people and saying we are the reason why white sage is being what's it called, extinct, because we're not using it for the right reasons, and that is their plant and they're the only people that are allowed to use it, and that they're the only apparent indigenous people that ever existed on this realm apparently. So yeah, we white people are not allowed to use sage now. Just throwing it out there. That irks my fucking soul.
You're I would never even know this, and I would not even care.
Viral, over 1.2 million views, telling people don't use white sage because you're not a Native American, because only Native Americans are native on this planet, apparently.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just another version of salvia.
This is the minds of some people and the ignorance, the more divide. Don't use this. It's not culture appropriation. Shut the fuck up. At this point, literally, all of you, shut the fuck up. Oh, y'all are stealing Sade's style, you white girls. Sade is half white. Her mother's white.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck is this? Shut the fuck up. Like, seriously, stop. You're a human.
Sade slaps, though.
Yeah, she does. She's awesome. Love her.
Sade is so good.
Yeah, but white girls are taking her style.
Rainy day music, a big fat joint, some Sade. That's like good Sunday music.
Little smooth operator.
Yeah.
It's good love-making music.
Sometimes it's a little sad for love-making music.
I give you all my love. I give you all.
Yeah, some of it's sexy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm Albanian. We say it how it is. If you're fat, you're fat. You're ugly, you're ugly. You this, you that. We'll say it to your face. We don't care. Cry me a river.
With the sage thing too, I've gone because I was watching Brother Bear for Occult Disney next week. So I was watching. I was taking all these notes, and I have this idea that it started out something really silly, but it seems like it's gaining more traction in my own brain. And we sort of like romanticize and like infantilize Native Americans as if they lived in like this pure essence of nature, and therefore they were just inherently more ethical and moral or anything. But they also had something called, like, one random example. They had these ritual buffalo jumps, right? Where they would just work a whole herd of buffalo into a frenzy, and make it so they had no other place other than a cliff to jump off of. So they would just run them off of cliffs, and they would just die when they hit the ground. And they would go and just, grab all the meat and grab all of the goods. But oftentimes when they would run the entire herd off a cliff, there was lots of waste. So even when you hear like, oh, the Native Americans used every part of the buffalo, that was true in some cases, but it's also true in Americans' case, right? Like what's the difference between the Native Americans were these pure, natural, tribal people that used every part of the buffalo versus, we grind down bones and connective tissue and turn it into chicken nuggies, and we make hot dogs and we give that to homeless vets so that they've got something to eat. Isn't that, using all parts of the buffalo on even more of an extreme level? And then it comes, well, that's because there's no personal connection. So the person eating the chicken nugget or the person eating the hot dog, right? They never had a personal connection to the 1,000 different animals that made it in there. But doesn't that also get kind of weird? Because it's like, is it like if you were an animal, I guess one of those like theoreticals, right? If you're an animal, would you rather be killed by someone that's been nice to you your whole life, and then one day they're just like, I'm gonna kill you? Like that almost feels like it would break your spirit, versus if you were just indiscriminately killed by some industrial machine that you have no control over, there's almost like a little bit of relief and like there's nothing I could have done, you know what I mean? But versus like the Native American handler that's been caring for you all this time, I don't know, it almost feels like you just give an instant pass because someone lived without air conditioning for a really long time. All of a sudden, everything they do is moral and just. I don't get it. You're on notice.
Thank you. You're on notice. Brat.
Is everyone just here before somebody else everywhere?
I mean, if you want to go towards the Hopi prophecy, yeah. Indigenous in every fucking continent.
And
bop, 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 bop.
A lot of it was conquest, but a lot of times too, like people would fight together like they had a common enemy, and they'd be like, all right, let's take those motherfuckers out, and then we'll go our separate ways. That happened a lot in history too, where a couple of sides ganged. They were like, redcoats, what? Okay. And
I think there's a bunch of versions of the Adam and Eve story in every continent. Like these were the first people and they have their version, and that continent has their version, and each continent has their own version of Adam and Eve. That's what I believe. Like I don't see how, when you look at the story of Jesus and Horus and all those other characters, it's almost that same story. Right?
there's a lot of similarities about a lot of religions around the world.
Yeah. Even with
What-
tribes. The
what
Aryans.
if everything like that, do you think that there's any chance that there's like a malevolent or benevolent alien race that is coming down and visiting all different people over different parts of the world, and so they all have a little different story?
What if they're just different types of humans and they don't want to be seen, you know? They're just like a DNA messed up version of humans, or maybe we're the messed up version of humans.
I know, but just for the happenstance of the show being called Aliens and not Humans.
Yeah.
Sometimes I try to wind it back to whatever the topic is, and you'll be like, what if the color blue is fucking pink?
I think we make the most sense as aliens, like on
Like
paper, and
ancient
just if you were just to logically talk it out, humans seem to be the most logical example of aliens on the planet, because we're the only thing here that's like making plastics and like ferrofluids and like all sorts of things that don't necessarily exist without us creating them and introducing them into the environment. No other animal, I believe, really has that capability or desire or would ever kind of like gravitate towards that, but we do, and it makes sense that we're making plastics and bakelite and vinyls and all these different materials because like we're aliens in a foreign place and we're trying our best to like shape the
Figure it
world
out.
so that it can cater to us.
Could we be vrilled or fungused or parasited, like in a way that they say toxoplasmosis? All of us,
Honestly,
like
what is it? Richard Stamos or something. The guy that has gone on Rogan before, but he's got that theory that mushrooms are like the oldest life form on the planet. So imagine this: imagine aliens crash on Earth, and we are those aliens. And then the mycelium, the fungus, realizes, oh my God, this is our chance to get off of this godforsaken planet with no AC. Like these aliens came here, so if we can infect those aliens, or if we can fuse like our own DNA, or do something to these alien beings, they might be our ticket out of here. So now mushrooms are keeping humans alive because we're the best chance to introduce Earth-based spores out into space and bring them to another planet. So, and that would make all the more sense if we were aliens to begin with, because it's like, well, their mothership's got to come back sometime, right?
So alien just really means you
False
don't know what
statement,
that
right?
yeah, you don't know what that being is. It's alien, but it could be whatever the fucking thing it could be.
just be different than you, because
Yeah.
what about a lean? Like if you had a lean on something, what would that mean?
Alien.
Like, like you would pay a debtor, like I would have a lien on your property, and you would have to part of it just is like, what if we are just, like we know we're property to the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
but we call these things from outer space or from out of the country, they're a lien. It's just an interesting word, alien.
Undocumented. Excuse you.
Yeah.
I've
And we
never
all
like
should want to be undocumented. There's so much about the things they have us begging for, that even though it's like we want our children documented because they're like, oh, a missing child, easier to go, quicker. That feels like
all the people complaining about these undocumented, it's really just like jealousy. It's like, damn, I wish I was undocumented. Those lucky bastards.
It's like part of me was always like, fuck, the gays should have always told the straight people, get the government out of your marriage.
Yeah.
We should have never. It's like they always have us fighting for our fucking demise. This is the other thing with like the gun control versus mental illness. Guess what? We're asking the government to decide both those things. Stop bringing them up together.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, we don't want the government to ever decide what's mentally ill. We don't want them to ever decide who gets to carry a gun. And people are like, I'm for, gun control if they decide what's no.
But see,
Should the government?
This is just me talking crazy right now. But at this point, it almost feels like the government being in control and the government making these demands. That would almost be an improvement, because right now it's not the government; it's essentially the Rockefeller Foundation and dynasty and the Prussian system in general, right? So even if you wanted the government to be ruling you, it's not. It's someone that's like above the government and doesn't care about the government. If anything, they see
Owns
that
the
as
government.
a hindrance, not even as like someone on their team.
Well, what about this whole telescope thing that they found this box in outer space and the alien ship is coming straight for us with all these aliens that the Hubbard
Come around
telescope?
for us.
Do tell. Is it the one that's cigar shaped from before that looped around us twice that they kept having to bring up?
I'm telling you, search it.
look
I
it
swear
up.
to God,
Tell
there's
me what to put in
aliens
the
coming
Google.
and it's in a box. Okay, again with that fucking box again.
Box. Is it in a
but
black cube?
Like a monolith? Yeah.
I forgot what telescope discovered it, and it's heading straight for Earth, apparently.
Alien Romulus toward one last global box office. Alien Romulus. It's all Alien Romulus. Hold on.
Aliens telescope found a mothership alien something something. It was all over fucking TikTok. I'm like, what the
World's
fuck? You guys
first
are buying?
telescope won't spot aliens, but should make stargazing special. That's a month ago though, so we'll finally.
I gotta find it.
New NASA telescope. Yeah,
I gotta find it. It was a particular name. The telescope. not the Hubbard, the something telescope, and they saw what appears to be a mothership.
James Webb Telescope sees an ancient black hole dance with colliding galaxies. Yeah, you'll have
They
to.
don't want us to know about it.
I'm telling you,
They
there's a
already
bunch.
deleted it.
I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. I'll
black
post it
cube.
later. I'll post it
It's
later.
probably going to land on a certain mountain.
Maybe. Or maybe
we
this is
go.
the whole moment of
Just in time.
Project Bluebeam.
The Lucifer telescope?
I can't check on because my phone. I would pull it up, but I can't because my phone. I'm using it right now to talk with you guys.
It's the USS Bluebeam. That's the name of the ship.
I forgot what the telescope name is, but I promise you, I will pull it up for you guys and I'll post it on my page. You know where to find me. Love you guys.
Yeah, it's so
If
wild.
I mean, if aliens did come here, right? I don't know if you guys have done any cross country trip. If you've driven from New York to Florida and back, you for sure have seen the south of the border billboards, which is what is it between North Carolina and South Carolina? I almost feel that would be aliens getting off at the Earth exit. Would be like someone getting off at south of the border. And then being disappointed because all there is a bunch of crappy fireworks and like half-assed Mexican food. Like
Cookie would
aren't we
say,
like a tourist trap for aliens?
Yeah, Cookie would say, Earth is ghetto as fuck.
It is. It's very ghetto.
Yeah.
Well, we are almost alien, man. We're weird. We don't fit on this planet. We're not the thing that meshes at all.
Well, one of the things in particular is just the gestation period for a human child. Like the absolute defenselessness of a child, the amount of noise that they make, and the fact that you've got like you basically can't let them go on their own until what, like 7 or 8 or something. Like it's one of the longest gestation periods of any animal on the entire planet, and it just seems like such an odd freaking fit.
That is odd. And
I
they
never
have so
thought
many
about the noise a baby makes.
and they have so many more animals that live longer than us, right?
Turtles,
Yeah, and poof, off they go.
sharks are dinosaurs. There you go. No one ever talks about that
Gators.
Yeah. Aliens. Has anyone ever seen an alien ever in their life? Like a real upfront in your face alien?
I've seen UFOs, never an alien.
Yeah, I've never seen
I know a few
aliens.
people that claim to have seen a legit real life alien in person.
Snooki from Jersey Shore believes that she was abducted by aliens, and she has like this hole in the back of her neck, apparently, and that was because she was abducted by aliens, apparently. And she talks about it all the time on all these podcasts, and she truly from the depths of her soul believes she was abducted.
If in the philosophy of like, let's say we're genetically modified by aliens, like we were talking about the Ringling Brothers Circus and a little bit of like 300, when Leonidas walks into the tent and there's like a half man, half bull and like a guy with lobster arms. And like, do you think we could have just been like the perfect worker that they needed? Like,
probably. The whole gold theory.
And like that's where you get in the Anunnaki, but there's people that say Stitchin's the one that made Anunnaki do that. That was never the story of the Anunnaki in the book, like whatever the religion is. That's like more of a Zachariah Stitchin of like, let's make these aliens, make these humans worker bees.
Yeah, and let them extract all the gold because we need the gold. We need the gold. It's always about the gold.
Do you think, like theorize, if aliens are here, the governments of the world know about this? Like the aliens already control the governments of the world. Like, it's not even a Rockefeller Rothschild system. It's like they're ancient
Yeah, this
aliens.
is what is it called? The Majestic 12. You ever heard of Majestic 12? This was, I think, I'll probably get some of the specifics wrong, but I think Eisenhower was supposed to have had a secret meeting with actual aliens and the rest of like high-ranking military officials and international world leaders. And part of that were these Majestic 12 meetings where they basically signed contracts and made deals with aliens. It almost feels like a modern day version of Zechariah Sitchin's work about like us entering contracts with different alien species.
So do you guys think it's like a Men in Black where the government and the aliens are working together and living together in this fucking realm and just plotting shit and doing what we see today? Do you think that could be like a huge possibility?
Or like we're the goats on the petting zoo, and like we might think that we're also running the petting zoo just because we happen to be here. But the power dynamic seems that if there were aliens that can leave and come back at will, and we're like stuck here and we don't get to leave and come back at will, like we're the goats inside the petting zoo, and they just close the gates behind them.
Do you think there could be any chance that the aliens are in inner Earth and not outer space?
I think water. I think in the ocean. I think that's where they
I've been
live.
thinking about the Howard Hughes thing for a little while, with him being like helping the government for a certain amount of time and then even doing the spruce goose, and then the government realizing we don't need the spruce goose anymore. We thought we were going to go your way. We're going to do it a different way. I think the submarine thing, once they figured out something like the planes are too much, the magnetism fucks up the planes, we need subs we can do. Submarines. And so I think they're inner Earth like that.
Yeah. Like
I used to be able to find so much inside bases, huge, enormous cities in the ground, but so much of it's been deleted. Like when you put in DUMBs, when you used to put in just deep underground military bases into Google, the amount of stuff you used to be able to find.
Yeah, and also like the fact that like everything is with water, the Mer, the Mar, and how the ports and how we have everything in terminology, like everything is water based, and the whole Poseidon of it all. We were looking through what was that painting recently with George Washington. Where was that? And then Poseidon was there, so it's always something to do with the water, and I feel like maybe it's something in there. There's something in there that we don't know about.
There was something that Andreas brought up a couple weeks ago when I was talking to him, and that there's this concept that if everything's an inversion, and if the powers that be are always trying to force everyone to believe up is down and down is up and good is bad and all that, like it's all just true inversions, that there's also a similar line of thinking that by going up into the sky and spaceships and planes and all that, that's actually going down. Like that, like that's kind of the ocean, and that if you drill into the center of the earth, or if you try and dig down, that's actually the way out. That's how you get into space. And I don't know.
Did they make a commercial?
Thought experiment.
Didn't they make a commercial of that guy being in the ball and he's flying all the way up, and it looks like he's flying, and then finally he passes this certain level, and then he crashes through the ceiling or not ceiling, maybe the ground, if you want to put it that way, and then it looks like he's falling. So it's not like he's flying, but it seems like he's falling then, and it's that whole inversion that you're talking about. So it's like almost like Pac-Man going the other way but coming out the other. It's like I don't know how to explain it.
But that's Avatar a little bit. And
that's how they portray it, yeah.
They show when they fly how all of a sudden the mountains like encapsulate them.
Mm-hmm. It's bugged
like it's
out.
not just like our up and down. It's like theirs is around.
Isn't it crazy how much influence James Cameron has over reality?
Yeah.
The abyss. I think the breathing of the rat in the abyss is like stuff that they're telling us right there. It's like mind-blowing to me that whales and dolphins cannot swim that deep because they eventually will encapsulate. But a shark could swim deeper. And this is what makes me think of like an underground city. If there is any place that they take their submarines to, they don't like sharks. Like whatever the evil they is, they don't like sharks. It's why they wanted to demonize them to us. They're like in their way of whatever their shit is if they're messing around in the ocean. Because the deeper they go, the shark would be the only dangerous creature that was there, and it would feed off some like it works on a different frequency. So for some reason, I just think like whales and dolphins can't go to the shallow
Maybe
depths of the
because
submarine.
maybe because the waters are different too in the depths and shoal or whatever the abyss. Maybe it's a denser, different water, a different type of H2O.
Well, I know they're like they do take water in them, you know, to equalize themselves, which would also fill their cavity up and you know, so they'd be a little pressurized. But just they're not breathing water like the rat on the
Have
abyss.
you ever seen the movie Underwater? I think it's like 4 or 5 years old now. It's Kristen
I
Stewart is
can't
in
do
it.
that stuff. I know what it's about, and that is one of my weird fears. Like I will start like submarine movies. I can't watch
Yeah,
The
I
Hunt
get
for Red October.
claustrophobic.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're never gonna watch it, let me just
Yeah,
like
spoiler
if anyone's
alert.
listening, plug your ears. But the whole premise of the movie that you find out at the end, which is like a big reveal, so definitely a spoiler. But the movie Underwater is that humankind, specifically corporations that are doing deep like sea floor oil drilling and like fracking on like the ocean floor basically, but they found these Cthulhu Lovecraftian like Kraken type entities, like these cosmic horrors with black tentacles and everything living on the ocean floor, like running the show, like, and not just running the show of the ocean, but that they were kind of like running the entire planet because they were tapped into like this geothermal energy from the ocean floor. But the whole premise is that these global oil companies are the ones that met these entities, so they're the ones that made these deals with them and said, hey, we'll give you X or we'll stay away from these certain things here and there. But that the aliens really are running the entire world from the ocean floor because that's the one place that we can't get to.
I'm telling you, man. There's
And you know who
something
would
about
know
the
would be
water.
Ghislaine Maxwell and Howard Hughes, right?
What
Yeah,
happened to
because
that scientist too that discovered like that ring of I guess oysters, and in that ring of oysters was a denser, more thicker type of water, and he tried to penetrate it with his submarine, and he made a documentary on it, and as soon as he made it, a month later he died in a helicopter crash, ironically.
yeah, the elite with their submarines, it's such an interesting even the whole Titan sub of it all, how they wanted to convince us that's how billionaires travel in submarines, as if there were 3 billionaires on one sub, as if one of those billionaires just wouldn't have their own sub with some random whore with a license.
Mm.
I mean, we know it to be true. You just get your girlfriend a submarine and a license.
What
Like
if they
Melania
feed
Trump
them?
probably
And an
has
Xbox
her own
controller.
sub license.
What if they're feeding them humans?
Well, this is an interesting thing where it's like if forever they've always tried to control the weather with sacrificing children. And then if you go into all the ancient myths of how many things they kept at bay by feeding them humans, like
Mm.
different leviathans, different kind of Godzilla like creatures, that you wonder if like in a world if you're playing like who knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. We
Like,
have
if
it
they're
in our
trying to set
culture.
us up for everything, they sure as shit have tried to set us up for Godzilla. Like, get comfortable with this, everyone. A quiet place is where you are gonna be.
I don't know. Discovery of Witches, that show is making me question like humans in a whole. And I feel like, oh, that's what they mean by aliens sometimes. Are they vampire? Are they demon? Are they witch? And it's like it all stems down to DNA. It's always DNA. And then it brings me back to the Q post with protect your DNA. And what's so special about fucking DNA that they don't tell us? There's something to it, and it's always DNA.
Okay, in a way, like, what if you really are from the stars? And so, like, where you people are like, Well, you're from Sirius. Or some people are like, well, you're from the Pleiadian
Lemurian.
galaxy, or you're
Mhm.
Lemurian. What if this is all true in such a way that you have to protect your DNA because you are like you're a star seed?
And then you have the people's like, Starseed? What? The Lucifer seed? Oh, the Lightbringer? That guy? I don't know. Why are the stars there? And why are they calculated every year? And why is this so important when you are conceived? Like when you're made and when you come into this realm through your mother's vagina.
No, I'm just thinking that there's like a Hitler starseed out there somewhere that's like super
Probably.
astrological and woke, but they're also like don't mix the starseed races.
Yeah, it's the Aryan star. What is it? I forgot what it's called. It's where the swastika lives. The swastika.
It was the whitest star in the sky, right?
I think so. But well, that's not what it means, Aryan. It doesn't mean the white race. It means like golden, Audi, like gold, and it goes back to gold again. The
gold
Aryan,
race. Literally,
yeah, the golden
gold
race.
It's a race to get the gold for the aliens. That's what it's all
The
been
golden
about.
race. Holy shit. Probably.
It's just like the rat race.
That's what we're doing. Dig up the earth. Get the gold. Earthquakes. Create earthquake machines. That's where you get the gold. In the cracks between the earthquake plates. That's where they exist. I'm telling you.
Some point in the distant future when we keep mining the gold for the aliens, but they're gonna look back and be like, can you believe people used to be able to get gold out of the ground? Because they're just gonna have to be sifting through like sewage plants.
Well, yeah, where was the gold rush? By California, right? Where all the earthquakes are at. God knows what's happening under the ground in California with all the
Doesn't
with
it
all
feel
the
like in a
earthquakes.
weird way? It's like, okay, the gold rush happened, and whatever they needed California for, they don't need anymore. Like, doesn't it feel like they're all cutting and running from California?
Yeah, leave the gold alone. It's mine, not yours. Leave.
Like,
it wasn't that long ago, right? 1849, the 49ers. I mean, that's not even that's barely 150 years, right?
Wow.
Could the gold rush have just been a psyop back then for like people to move west?
1,000,000% yes.
Why would they have wanted to populate the whole entire land with people?
Well, it's already been populated.
But like, what would have been the point of like, here, go out there? You know, how
Israel?
often does a kingdom send all of its serfs away?
That's a great example for this, right? Because it's like, hey, here I have no use for right now. It would suck to live there. You go live there. And then as soon as it gets developed, it's like, hey, what a nice little bit of land you got there. I think I might move in here and take some of that land for myself now that it's like nice and acclimated.
Like, go figure out where
promised
cities,
to me.
Go take
Christopher Columbus said it was mine, okay?
Any of the like people that are going to fight for their land, you guys will either die or take over their land before I get there. If there's any resources, you'll figure them out. You'll like kill all the animals so the furs will be ready for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
literally,
it's like some way, like these certain people, these propaganda makers are the Anunnaki.
They're the vampires of this realm.
Like they're the ones that are like your overlords that are sent here to make you mine fake gold for them. So it's like a Rothschild thing. They're the Anunnaki. I don't know. Or like the Paciors. I don't know.
They're the Vril. They're the parasites.
Seriously though, like we're like those little fish you go to like the manicure, the mani-pedi place, and you stick your foot in a little fish tank and all the fish come up and they like nibble away at like your dead feet's skin cells, right? That's kind of like us, and like the aliens are like the people that are coming in and sticking their feet in. Like we all feel like we're doing all this big work and this job and like we're getting a good job done, but I
For
think
what?
we're all here just so that an alien can farm gold out of our shit at some point.
Yeah, since we shit it.
If you figured like if you made it to a different dimension, if time and space weren't as real. I don't know. This even seems like a boring video game. Like if you're like, okay, let's make this Earth game. Like doesn't and you're watching it like Truman Show. Watching you go to work seems boring. So that's why they're like, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to convince them that there's like
Wait, what are those
games.
Greek guys doing down there? Zoom in on that.
I swear, it's like Mario. It's like they upload a new level, like reset, new level. Okay, so here's this different world. And then they put us in a different world, and everything looks different. Like back in Tartaria days, everything looked different and beautiful. And now everything is boxy. So we're in a different realm now. And now we're in a reset, and it's different. It's going to be different. That's how it works. We're in a video game, just like Mario Brothers.
Yeah, can we bring up a picture of the freaking sheepfish mouth again? Just as like we're just like a mix and match creation. Like the aliens came down, they're just like, all right, we're gonna take the teeth out of that fish over there, and we're gonna take this over here. We're just gonna kind of like push these different objects together, and there we go.
Probably.
Our gold getters.
I hate sheepfish mouth, but I'm gonna pull it up.
Just sheepfish mouth.
Sheepfish
That'd
mouth.
be a great
Oh.
band name, Sheepfish Mouth.
Ugh.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, they do use fish scale to like help, heal our skin, and it's the best thing to use, honestly.
Look at that one though.
That one's
so
from
weird. Oh, that's me.
Oh, don't even say it.
I could say I got a gap.
Look at that. Why does that fish need that?
They don't even need braces. Look at how straight and
They got
perfect.
them
Oh my
good
god, you could
teeth.
totally give a freaking fish braces.
Uh-huh. That one.
Oh my gosh, that needs to be a
Has
sticker.
anyone ever done that? That would be fascinating if someone gave
Sheepfish
sheepfish braces.
orthodontics. That needs to be like a fake.
Invisalign.
Didn't someone do that to a dog? I think they did it to a dog before. Braces on a dog. I swear, maybe I dreamt it, but I think I
don't
saw
wanna
something
know.
on that.
I don't want to know. So
Okay. I'm
what are you sick fucks up to? This is where I draw the line.
yeah.
That and drinking pee.
Yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
Don't.
Ugh.
I
Is
know
that still
what
going?
the aliens are like. Oh,
How are they doing? Y'all out there who are drinking pee, are y'all all right? You guys doing okay? Guys doing okay? How's it going? How's your health?
Every astronaut that has been out in fake space has had to drink their own pee.
Yeah? How's your health?
filtered out in fake space.
Are you doing better? Are you looking younger?
They
you
have to
feeling younger?
convince us of a lot in fake space. Like they have to they're like, look at this food that they eat in fake space. Like
My
it's
favorite
freeze-dried food.
is the hair. The fake floating hair that they got going on. You ever
Where
seen
it's,
those
like, hair
videos?
sprayed up.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm electrocuted. Hair. That kind
I
of hair.
will say that I saw a video going around that everyone was like, look at this is some real footage that they had on TV of like a moonwalk. And I did some research on it, and it was an actual simulation footage of the moonwalk that like ABC made at the time to show what was good. Like it was such a big deal back then that they were like, it wasn't even meant to be real back then. But I'm like, this is where people don't even have to make up new stuff. They can just use the actual real stuff and be like, do you believe this moon landing? Like,
Nope.
you don't have to add anything to it. Just point them at the real
Just-
moon landing.
Just watch it and you'll see for yourself. Just open up your eyes. Your eye too.
I kind of sometimes get on the train though that like if we went to the moon, we we knew we couldn't film it, and we had to do something that was exciting if we ever went. But if we ever went, something was like, don't fucking come back here. Or we're all up there and built so many, like there's bases all over the moon.
What happens
I
on the
mean-
moon stays on the moon.
I mean, we
Crimes
asked the
on the moon.
question to NASA, why can't we go back to the moon? Oh, well, we had the technology, but we no longer have it anymore. Where'd it go? What happened?
And I'm naive, but I would think a better option than trying to shoot a rocket off from Earth would be to make a platform on the moon so you could slingshot to Mars. It seems like it'd be a better option. You have less atmosphere that you're breaking through with your shuttle, so you could get a faster speed for trajectory, which would save months of travel time. And I don't know, but this is just me with my Lego brain, with me using the science that they tell me. It just
Yeah.
seems like, why would they even? We're gonna try to shoot off from the Challenger glider to, they went backward, that the rocket that SpaceX uses all look like the Apollo rockets. Like they're all like this whole different thing than the glider that we grew up on from the Challenger. Like we didn't go in the future with rockets. And when you watch the rocket boosters land, it is one of the fakest looking fucking things you ever seen. If I hadn't seen one come back, the light of it come back toward Earth, where I was like, dang, because essentially it's a nuclear weapon, so they tell us, or an atomic bomb coming back at Earth. But I'm like, I hope this lands okay.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We trust the government.
Well, it's not the government. This is why I think it's so funny that you think any government around the planet, anywhere, would let SpaceX just flim flam play on their landing pads unless something else is going to go on. And if you were the country that was able to get your Starlink up over the whole planet and satellites were real, wouldn't you immediately rule the information race, because you could control it's essentially what they're telling us Israel has over their entire country is what you'd be putting up over the whole entire world. So anytime any rocket was shot, you'd be able to shoot it down.
Well, what if
Unless
they're
I'm
not
just naive.
trying to go to space? And what if they're trying to do what Hillary Clinton is saying, that we put a crack in the glass ceiling, in the highest glass ceiling, and we put a crack in the ceiling and the ceiling is going to come crashing? Are they trying to like fucking crack the fucking firmament and just cause a flood? Are they trying to do that? Who's the first one to crack, like actually crack the firmament, or who's the one who can actually penetrate it? I don't know. It's just very odd. Something's not right.
It ain't right around here. Something ain't right.
Oh, notice,
notice.
Hillary.
Is your like thing, they push
What
the
are-
aliens too hard propaganda wise, or is it just for us to accept them, or is it just totally fake because nothing they tell us is real?
Yeah, I think it's just for control. Another thing to use as control for the people who are not controlled in that aspect. Oh, we don't believe in God. Oh, so let's create aliens for that version because, hey, they don't believe in God, but I bet you they'll believe in these beings because look how cool they are.
Right,
Like-
it's religion 2.0.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
how I
like,
look at it.
if we are a rock floating through space, there's nothing out there. It's
Huh?
just us. We're the
We're it. This is it.
Or-
This is the melting pot of creation.
Or I'd argue if anything is out there, it would be totally indifferent to us, the same way that you'd be indifferent to like an ant that you saw crawling around outside. Like how
Probably.
invested are you? You're gonna like follow the ant around and make sure that like they're
I'm-
doing okay and check in on them and
I always hear this, but then I'm like, would we care about the monkeys in the jungle?
I'm
Maybe
sorry. I
not,
don't
but-
fuck with that. I don't fuck with that, Abbott.
What?
Whatever he just wrote in there. Who's staring in my fucking window? Like, I will shoot a motherfucker. Like, I don't
Layla
fucking
just
play with
shoots
that.
her
First
green
SWAT, you just
screen.
tell Layla someone's in the house, she starts shooting.
Like, don't fucking play with me right now. You want to live or you want to die? One or the other.
I'm dead.
I don't fucking play that game.
I thought like somebody said
I'm
something
sorry.
nasty.
I don't fucking play that game. Joke or no joke, don't fuck with me that way. Don't.
Abbott, you're on notice.
He's been on notice.
Abbott just made you flinch.
Yeah. Twitch, I twitch. Manic, crazy, Layla, alert. Don't fuck with me, seriously.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Uh-oh. That's it, Abbott. That's
Hey,
no,
I
but
bet.
seriously, how you say that? Someone look at you in the fucking. Really? Okay, come find out. Come, I dare you.
Layla,
I
someone's
fucking
swimming
dare
in
you.
your pool.
Go ahead.
Layla, there's somebody swimming in your courtyard pool.
I have options too.
Because
How do
it's
you
the
want to
fake
go?
background.
How do you want to go? Kaboom or trat tat 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 tat? How do you want to go? You tell me.
We're gonna bust
You-
out those gold knives.
Or gold guns.
I have mine. Let me see. Look at this.
Would we get banned if I show people my rifles?
Maybe on YouTube.
Yeah, so no, never mind.
Isn't it awesome?
I love it.
Maybe not on YouTube. Maybe that's for the Rumble and X show later on, where
We just start busting out guns.
or maybe just going to the range footage. We do want to go to Gun World one day and film it.
Yeah.
I used to go there nonstop, and then you started requiring masks over the 2020 thing, and it was, I don't know.
You're
It
like,
Really?
took it out of me.
this feels the opposite of what I should be doing with my gun.
Right.
Wearing a mask.
Yeah.
A mask. I gotta worry about a fucking imaginary.
I feel like the gunpowder will take care of it for me. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Do you guys have anything going on this week? Are we being invaded by real aliens?
You know,
Will Andre
No.
3000 be in the news?
maybe. Speaking of aliens, you know what's a really good alien movie that you'd probably like? Not a movie. It's a 3-part series. It's called
Childhood's End.
Childhood's End. There you go. It is fantastic.
What is it?
It's weird.
Childhood End.
It's a weird, book, weird
Childhood
movie.
End?
Childhood's End. Yeah. It's fucking. The show is mind blowing. It's a 3-part series, 2 hours each episode. It's 3 episodes, 2 hours each episode. But I mean, it is a nail biter. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, humans are that stupid that we would fall for anything, and we would.
I
These
know.
are the consequences that we would face if we were to ever like comply in a sense for freedom or cures or, oh yeah, heal me please, and then this would happen, and that's what happens.
Well, Thomas,
I would vote for alien movies. I think that Prometheus is the absolute best, but you have to watch the director's cut intro to it, because if you don't see that, then you don't get any of the movie. I don't know why they cut it out, but yeah, you have to watch the director's cut intro and then the rest of the movie Prometheus, and I think that's like one of the best examples of alien technology. That and batteries not included.
I think Killer Clowns from Outer Space could be a really likely thing. It would make them easy.
The Nephilim, right? They were just Nephilim.
There's something about their like weird popcorn or the cotton candy that they hold the people in that's still very reminiscent of Body Snatchers. That there's something about that cocoon, them cocooning a human and drinking it dry, that's very creepy.
Another good one is the one with the aliens. It's kind of like a funny one with the glass domes and the brains, and they're like, nah, nah.
Mars Attacks, yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Well, do you
Well,
have
I guess
anything going on
the
this
other big thing I got going on are the conspiracy cards. There's still maybe 100 packs total left until they're all completely gone, and I got to make more. So if you want some of the cool ass conspiracy card packs, you should go grab some.
Yep, you should totally grab them. And if you guys feel like getting any salt, I have a link in the bio, and I get a free like pack if you get one. That's all that I get from it. But you get a free sample pack, and I'm really addicted to chocolate coffee every day with salt in it, and I just feel so much better. I feel like I was definitely down in nutrients. But I'll be here Sunday with Layla and Abbie. For those of you that missed Abbie, she's just busy with the kids. She's she's a super mom. So her showing up all the time for us, we really appreciate. And at first I just thought Layla was blowing cigarette smoke for a while or being sexy. Like I thought she was holding sexy pose, but now I think she's frozen.
Yeah, I just noticed that too.
You just noticed it too. We just thought Layla was just like,
Vogue.
yeah, like and stop. But I know I don't want to leave unless I don't want to just go if Layla's maybe her phone died. Anyways, we love you guys so much, and we will see you Sunday. And until then.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over.